Network. I'm Justin Horo, joined by the OG Willie Mason. OG, it is round 6, and we are ready to go for football this weekend. And I tell you what, the players are ready for the litmus test.
we got checked. I saw that comment.
Absolutely,
That's your fault, Lukey.
I'll wear it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Should you chat GPT that fucker again?
Can I ask you a question?
What the fuck? Litmans.
So, Litmans, right?
Litmus.
So, I always thought it was litmus. You guys threw me off and I got outvoted, so I just conceived. What did you Google to come up with Litmans?
Litman. I just searched Litman. Yep. And then Litman is literally something to do with the stethoscope. So I wasn't wrong. I was just searching the wrong thing.
Okay.
That's very rare.
Yeah.
It's very rare.
But it sounded legit.
That's why we believed it. I'm like, yeah, fucking oath.
Because I need to ask the question. Lukey has got his IQ is better than both, and probably yours, me and your combined, mate. But his Google searching skills have been off for a couple of weeks, and he's the tech genius out of all of us as well.
That's why we trust him. We went, okay.
So it's worrying signs. This one comes from Addicted to LITMUS on Instagram, and he goes, just jumping in, boys, and we had a whole bunch of people. So in a way, I don't know if Lukey maybe did it on purpose because it was really good for the algorithm and all the comments that come with it.
I'll claim that then.
Because I had a look on, I watched a bit of the YouTube one, right? And I read a couple of comments. The first one was that, by the way, boys, litmus. I'm like, oh, shit.
I got about 3 emails. People are hammering us with emails now. So
What?
if you're watching the show, partner@levelsnetwork.com.au isn't going to get you a comment on the show.
Okay, yeah. And
emails.
Let's clarify one other thing. So many people now are DMing me on Instagram. Not even Levels, my Instagram, and trying to get questions. That's not how it works. Chuck it on Luke.
Chuck it on Lukey's one.
No, I was going to say chuck it on. I was going to say chuck it on LITMUS because I was looking down at the username for this one, Addicted to LITMUS. Just jumping in, boys. It's a litmus test. Remember in chemistry when you'd use that paper to dip into the chemicals to test reactions? Yeah, well, that was called the litmus paper, and it is used to help produce a decisive result from the action you were performing. Anyway, carry on. And then Kelly's off writ litmus, Litman, Littleman, dogs in 5. So that's a really popular
NBA one.
No,
NBA quote
because Shay says it. You said
Yes.
Lakers in 5.
Yep. So that's where it all started.
Yeah.
It's like a really popular Lakers in 5, and then they chuck in it. Doesn't
That's funny.
rhyming stuff.
He'll rhyme about 3 or 4 things. Lakers in 5.
Yeah. So
Bulldogs in 5.
there we go. By the way, I wasn't paying attention in chemistry, therefore I wasn't.
I did not do chemistry.
I wasn't able to correct you guys because there was no confidence in me. Like I always assumed it was litmus, but I've also got a lot of things wrong over the years. So I thought maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong, or maybe I didn't know what it was.
I'll tell you what, I watched Suits recently, so maybe it was Lewis Litt and sort of just got me.
I used to burn magnesium. That was about it.
So there we go. Litmus test. Bang. Out of
Litmus.
the way.
That's it. Done. Thank you, guys.
All right, I tell you who's going to be under the pump with the litmus test is anyone that's performing in the Wings for Life World Run. It has one sole purpose, and that is to find a cure for spinal cord injuries. The Wings for Life World Run is an event with a twist. There is no finish line. No matter what the time zone or country you are at in the world, we all start as one. So at 9 p.m, Sunday, May 4th, all participants in Australia will commence the race. This year's Sydney's event will be held at Randwick Racecourse, Mace. Yeah. This is for our partners at Red Bull. The event has a $28 entry fee with 100% of the proceeds going towards spinal cord research. Details for the event are, as I said, Sunday, 4th of May. Australian Eastern Standard Time at 9 p.m. because, like I said, it is a race that goes all the way around the world. There is an app that you can use, and you can run anywhere. So at the same time,
You just keep running.
Well, no, sorry. At the same time around the world. So it'll be 9 p.m. in Sydney. It could be
11 o'clock.
It'll be morning over in London. It could be the afternoon in America. I haven't looked
and we
into
all
the
just
time
start
difference.
at the same time.
Everyone starts at the same time, and then you're doing it for a great cause. So shout out to our partners, Red Bull.
Sorry, when do you stop? When you've done? Like
You can
just
just
keep
stop
running?
whenever you want. Yep.
Jesus.
So it's just
I'd
about
love to
starting.
see the winner.
It's just about, obviously entering and paying the $28 with 100% of the proceeds going to spinal cord research. So go in. You might go start, just go for a walk.
Yeah.
You might go down,
yeah.
if you do join the race here in Randwick, mate, you just might go for a 15, 20-minute walk, but you're doing it for
It's
a
not
great
about the
cause.
distance, is it?
No, not at all. So, Lukey, I'll give you the link. You can chuck that in the bio for anyone that wants to sign up using the link directly. It's for a great cause, obviously. All right, let's get to the ref crackdown. This has been, very topical. I've seen throughout the week too. I think Lukey shared it after we'd finished the episode, and I've seen this at SEN on Sunday. There was actually an email, and they're trying to control the narrative a little bit on this, and which it can be. It's understandable, right, Mace? But apparently, the NRL has reached out to both Nine and Fox before games and trying to. They would like the agenda. They would like what the hosts are going to talk about before
the piece of paper that's on.
Yes,
like the run sheet.
The run sheet to find
off.
out what they're about to talk about.
Stay in your lane.
Well,
There's layers to this, though.
Yeah, there is. And what's your sort of biggest take on it, Lukey? You look like you're keen on it.
Friday night, Rabbitohs versus Roosters, DAZN were getting the tour of the facilities with V'landys and Abdo. Ooh. So they were getting the walk around. So the narrative behind it, thanks to your man, Mr. Exclusive and Michael Shamus, they were talking about this on their show.
Yep.
They're trying to show the game in the most positive light, hence the broadcast deal. So that makes it awkward for the broadcasters, Nine, because obviously they want a piece of the pie for the next one as well. So they sort of, how much do they lean into that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. Yeah, it does. I didn't see that level of it. I thought it was more about controlling the narrative around the referees. And
surely they don't have a narrative. Do you know what I mean? The Channel 9 commentary team or Fox,
or the example
they just call it out.
The example that they were using is when Buzz sat on 360 and said all high tackles are getting sent off, and then Abdo literally was the next segment and goes, no, that's not the case.
I think that's what they're trying to get rid of, like the little panel shows, right? That just keep pumping this sort of narrative out there with the refs and how.
I think it's just making sure the right information is being reported.
Yeah,
to
that's
begin
all.
with. So, like, if Abdo wasn't on after Buzz, then he couldn't have, and it wasn't completely off, was it? Really?
No.
Like when you look at it, what Buzz said, even though Abdo did come on after and say, "Oh, look, that's a bit of a reach." When you did watch the games over the weekend, how many decisions did we see where we were like, that wasn't a sin binning last week?
Well, of course, Buzz, these journos like Buzz and all that, they're not too far off anything. Shamus, Exclusive, Danny Wilder, all these guys, they're not far off, right? So when Abdo comes on next, and of course he's going to say, no, that's not the plan. Because it'd be stupid if he come on and said, yeah, that's the plan. We're just going to, any high contact, we're just going to send for 10. Shoulder to the head, they're going for 10. But that is exactly what fucking happens.
It did happen.
All right, and that's exactly what did happen. So most of the journos are pretty much spot on. They do a lot of work fucking, out of the scenes and all that kind of shit. A lot of phone calls, all this kind of stuff. There's always people talking in every single thing, from the NRL to everybody. Everyone chats and talks shit like a bunch of little fucking schoolgirls. So everyone gets to know something,
but
right?
we love it. That's what we
think. Yeah, but that's what it is. It's like a soap opera, right? So it gets out there and they get the mail. They get on 360 or they get on, the Channel 9 thing and they fucking say it. They're not perpetuating a fucking crazy narrative, right?
There's a bit of GST.
But they know it a little bit, right?
Yeah.
To sell the story. But it's a little bit about it. They're pretty much Nelly spot on. Then Abdo comes on and goes, no, that's not going to happen. He'd look silly if he come on and said, yeah, that's what we talked about last night. It's going to happen. Of course he's going to knock it down. That's just fucking smart.
But then the NRL have also brushed, they don't do that Annesley thing every Monday.
That was good. That was good. They got rid of that.
He is a waste of space. Honestly, what's he doing? He just comes out. He's just putting out fires all the time. I feel sorry for him.
Yeah, so they've brushed
He's the head of rugby league, right? What's his?
The referees unit.
The referees thing.
Yeah,
they've brushed that show, which was terrible.
Good.
Just don't. Yeah, it's a terrible show. He doesn't need to be on there, just defending his fucking refs all the time.
I'll say this, Mason. I think you'll agree with this. Yeah, it's very similar to a coach. We would hate to see coaches come out and spray their players in presses after. That's why I hated the Annesley thing.
Yeah.
If there is an out and out howler, if there's a really bad one and there's confusion on the rule, I'd be open to it, but not the weekly. How he used to do it weekly and pick apart decisions, and it would make the refereeing even harder.
But then it gets the public offside with the refs even more. You're seeing Annesley coming out just non-stop, and so he's got to sticking up for his boys, right? Because he's the boss of that. So you see him out there all the time, every week, and I'm like, everyone just gets sick of his head. Like Annesley's doing his best job, right? He's doing his best job. We don't need to see that guy's head once a week. It's every time there's a big fucking moment. That's it.
But a couple of times he went against his referees, though. That was the tough thing. So and like this is why he shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, well, that's
a couple of times he would come out and go against his referees, and I thought the referee got it right. So like this is too much confusion. Just don't do it.
Even worse. Even worse what you just said then. So you're going against them, then the public's going against them, they're with them, they're not with them. It's just like, just get it right. And we understand that you're not going to get it right all the time. There's human error. We are allowing for human error, but the more technology you put in this game, the less human error should happen. Yes, that's all. As punters and everything like that, there's billions of dollars into this game now. You're not fucking around. It's not the 70s, so you got to get it right. Agreed. And I just think, like he's in an important position. So, we can allow for human error, but just fucking there's so much technology and shit. Get the right balance.
When I clipped up the ref's take on Monday, I couldn't believe there was a TikTok of Thingo in the bunker showing how it all works.
Oh yeah, Klein.
Ashley Klein. Did you watch the clip that I did? Yeah. I overlaid content that they posted on. It's the Parramatta Referees Association, so he must have got to take over the account. It's like 3 years old. Yeah. But I couldn't believe there was like.
He had a beard.
How many cameras are in there?
Yeah, did Klein have a beard?
Like how many cameras? How much footage have you have?
Did he have a beard? Was that the one?
Said a beard.
No, beard. Well, maybe he does. Sorry, respectfully.
Yeah. Sorry,
allegedly.
It's actually declined. It's
declined.
Gone. Yeah, it's gone. Now, so.
They declined his beard.
Yeah, I couldn't believe like A, that footage exists. B.
Annesley declined his beard. Sorry. Get rid of that.
Sorry, your point.
I couldn't believe A, there's footage of a referee in a bunker showing how it all works. It's a couple of years back. Yeah. But then B, like, how many cameras do you have?
Yeah, so they've got a heap. And sometimes like that can be
a detriment.
Yeah. There's a level of confusion by having. Yeah. So apparently there's 4 people in the bunker. I could be wrong on this, but by the way, had a whole people reach out to me after that. A lot of people agreed, and just people in and around the game. And I won't throw anyone under the bus, but a lot of people were in agreement with the frustrations. Put it that way.
Rennie Matua, is he one of them?
Yeah, 6-1.
Yeah, 6-1 was the green.
There was other people most to tell you after
an interesting one that I saw in our comment section. It might have even been on TikTok. You know how the Premier League, when it goes to VAR, the ref walks over to the side, he puts his head into the blanket.
Do that.
We couldn't do a VAR.
No, it's the same as the NFL as well. Our game's predicated on fatigue.
That's what Volandis wants, man. He sped this game up so far that you cannot the bunk. They don't even show the bunker anymore. 3 years ago, bunker had game time, and you're going up there and you looked. That's all cut out. They're doing bunker while they're playing. So the game's predicated on speed, fatigue, eyes on the ball all the time. So it makes the decisions harder, right? So they've got to get. But they still do have time, but it takes a little bit. I just go back to the Hudson Young thing. So why did that take you 2 minutes? Did you go back and look at it, and then your interpretation of a high hit is that? You fucking got it wrong, right? And then you can't always go back to the Cobbo stepping out. Why can't you go back to that? Why can't you go back to that? Because you fucking open up Pandora's box if you want to go back 2 minutes. And then you can't rule on forward passes. It's like, fuck, somewhere they've got to find a median ground where everyone's happy. It's not that hard.
I'm with you on the Hudson Young. If you do go back, you do got to get it right.
It's nearly, if you're going back that far, Hudson Young, come here, you're off. Like a send-off to go back that far. Not a 10-minute. God, that was the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, I agree. There is human error and the Selwyn Cobbo. I think maybe the reason, and this is just we're talking out loud now with this, is that there are repercussions with high tackles. So I don't mind them going back. I don't mind them going back for a set.
A proper hit
to get it right.
Like if he fucking cracked him and he's like injured and everything like that, and he's in some serious trouble, but not when you've gone back, you've looked at this for about 30 seconds. The contact is minimal to the head. That's when, all right, play on to the ref. That's it. Don't bring it all the way back. It's just like, that was silly. And that's from Ashley Klein, our best ref.
He's not our best ref.
I know he's not our best. He's supposed to be our best ref. So who the hell's he talking to in the bunker? Is someone talking to him and going, no.
Okay, so let me get back to that. I was just about to raise that before Lukey. So for Lukey, the picture that you got from Ashley Klein in the bunker, apparently, and I've heard this maybe a year ago now, and I think Jammer went and did it. There, if you work for Fox or Channel 9, you're welcomed There was a point where there was a real there was frustration from fans, which led to the media talking about it a lot, where they invited portions of the media. So I think if you're part of Fox or Channel 9, you're allowed to go in there and watch it. I think Freddie went and did it. I think Freddie went and watched it and
Freddie
just
should be in the bunker now.
Yeah, he went and watched it and seen how they, went about their business, how they operated. And then he talked about it on the Footy Show. And I believe there is one, so you've got your main official in there. There's also a spotter, someone else. I believe there's maybe a third that is just a member of the NRL. And I believe it's a past player.
Yeah, okay.
I think I was going to say someone's name, but I don't want to throw them on the bus just in case the information is wrong. So I believe that is the team in there, and potentially one other person that are constantly looking at things. So
and they still fuck it,
and you still make mistakes.
Yeah.
And look, there is going to be.
We get it.
We allow human error for referees. We allow the odd error when it comes to the bunker because again, we can watch some of the shots over the weekend and slightly disagree. Maybe on the Tino one, right, where you were like, all right, that's 50-50, Tino. I'm like, all right, I'm probably more on the side of sending him. So there is still grey area.
I look at that and they go, if that wasn't Kafusi, the other guy is out.
Yes.
That's the thing. You got to look at who you're hitting. You're hitting a tough hombre there.
But can we agree that there's a little bit of grey area in that?
Yes.
For even
100%. Because I'm just looking at it going, it sort of clipped him a little bit. And I'm like, if he hit someone else like that with that intent, he's going down. Yeah. I can see that. I can 100% see why he deserved a week because if he hit, like, as I said, like Nico Hines or someone a little bit slant, they're going way back and it's going to look awful. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just because Kafusi's a tough
and he's got a strong jaw.
And he's strong, man. You know what I mean? And it's rattled him a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's how much force Tino can deliver. But what are your thoughts on the forward pass? Do you think they should be able to rule on a forward pass?
No, I think forward pass is really tough.
I watched a really interesting. Someone DM'd us an interesting video from World Rugby on the velocity and how a forward pass works. It's so fascinating. I'll link it in the comments. It's not worth bringing up now.
Okay, right.
But it's
what do you
really
reckon?
interesting.
Oh, it's hard because I just think it's costing games, right? Like if it costs a game, I think it should be subjective, right?
Okay.
Like where everyone's thinking Latrell's pass was forward, right? And I'm like,
what's your thoughts on it?
I don't think it was forward.
Neither did I.
Because I know it went out the back originally, and it floats forward because
he's
the
freeze frame shows
end
2
over
meters,
end passer. If he spirals that, that's why they say if you spiral more than 5, if you pass it more than 5 meters, spiral it so it goes down back that way. If you pass it out end over end, it's going to go that way, right?
Yep.
And the way that he passes. So I can see why if it's frame by frame, it's forward frame by frame. But if you look at it at full speed, your eyes, that's backward. It looks flat.
So
flat. It looks flat as hell.
Yeah.
Borderline Nelly forward.
I love the pass.
But I'm like, that was brilliant live.
Here we go. Look, he's got something here. Just quickly on that. If you did freeze frame that, Mason, and then made it.
Yeah.
Watching the video from World Rugby, they explain. Let me put the volume.
No, the ball is always travelling backwards in relation to the 2 players.
See?
Yeah, momentum.
That's forward, isn't it?
No, that's backwards.
No, but it looks like where he passed it from. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, correct.
That's what it looks. But that's exactly what Latrell did. The guy was back, and then it looks like when he catches it, it looks like he catches it forward.
The argument with Latrell for that is, did he generate enough forward? Because he takes sort of like one step and then does the cutout.
Fucking great pass.
Yeah, beautiful.
It was a try.
I think it was behind.
But if you made that black and white, right, and you went and did freeze frame, that probably is not a try.
Yeah,
you know?
100%. But if you do that all the time, then you can live with it.
Yeah.
But you can't
They just got to effectively focus on the hands.
Yeah. And then I reckon there would be
some big games that have cost have that Origin when Fergie scored that try in that corner, that pass was a mile forward. Remember that?
Fergie to Teddy.
Well, yes.
In the Origin.
Mile forward. I'm like, fuck yeah. But I'm like, way forward. If I'm a Queensland fan, it's like, that looked 2 or 3 meters forward from the eyes. And I'm just like, that looked forward. But fuck it, we won. That's why I didn't care. But like some of these, that's a fucking crucial thing as a decider. Yeah. There's a lot of things that, a lot of money gets put on games. It's a very big industry. Massive. And I'm like, you've got to get these not little things, these big calls right. It's a forward pass. Fucking bring it back. Yeah, the linesman's in perfect position.
You got to get it right. We got done. 2013 grand final.
See?
We had a bad one. The Sean Kenny Diop pass or the try from Jimmy Maloney was fucked.
Exactly. So you've got nightmares off that shit.
Yeah.
Because they don't have that. They've got the technology. That's the problem. I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Tricky. That one's tricky for me.
It is tricky. I'm not saying do it. But I'm like,
let's figure out a way.
It's costing a lot of games,
Okay.
and I don't think the linesmen are good enough to even notice it. Otherwise, have the balls and put the fucking flag up when you're right in line with Latrell. Well, that's his interpretation, right?
Maybe he thought it was fine. Based
Of course, he thought it was fine.
Yeah, well,
I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
Until you break it down like that, and you're like, okay, it was a little bit forward. And we are stoked to have TJM on board for 2025. For 50 years now, TJM has stood for Taylor, Jones, and Mollenhauer. But beyond those initials, TJM means so much more. TJM means quality. TJM means innovation. TJM means pushing the boundaries and striding into the unknown with confidence. TJM means taking the lead.
Mace, I will take the lead now, and TJM has extended its Ventura Bar range to suit a multitude of new four-wheel drives. These include the newest 70 Series Land Cruiser, D-Max Prado, and even the F-150 for those American truck lovers or Australian truck lovers. Remember, you can visit TJM on tjm.com.au. All right, let's get to Updog Kamali. So shout out to Noddy for texting in.
Thanks, Noddy. Appreciate it.
Nice username, Noddy. Updog Kamali. Hey, boys, off the back of all the chat about
One of
people
the
being
greats.
binned but only getting fines of the match review committee, what do you think about this idea? Players only get binned if the referee thinks that the player is definitely getting a week suspension. Would look something like this. Ref think it's just going to be a fine, unsure if it will be a result in anything. No bin, just on report. Option 2. Ref thinks it's going to be a week or two, and I'd imagine this is both the referee and video referee, thinks it's going to be a week or two, therefore it's a sin bin. If the ref thinks it's serious enough where it's 3 to 4 weeks, then that's a send-off. Would also mean that the team who the offence happens again actually gets rewarded, not the team who the offender is playing next week, which is sometimes an argument people have. Also, it doesn't necessarily mean that the player has to be suspended for a week if they get binned. Just that is what the referee thinks is likely to be. I don't mean to be condescending here, Updog Kamali. That's how it should be, right?
Yeah.
That's how a referee should look at it, right? If you think it's 50-50, I've got an element of doubt, there's some mitigating circumstances, penalty, on report, we'll leave it to the match review committee. If you think live, especially the referee, geez, that got him right around the chops there.
Yeah.
And I heard a
shoulder to the
maybe
head.
a slapping noise on a swinging arm or a solid where the defender or the person carrying the ball has been hit by the defender and they get jolted and they move back. All right, that's 10 in the bin. We'll send that, and the match review can also get involved in that. And then if it's a crazy one like
out and out, just
remember Fui Moano on Pappy a couple of years ago where he got sent off.
yes.
That was actually at Magic Round. That was off the back of a real crackdown, but that was the correct decision to send him off. Like he hit him flush.
Yep.
Pappy didn't play in that game.
Careless
and then he ended up
reckless.
Getting, he
If
ended
it's
up
like
getting,
that,
yes.
careless and reckless, you're off.
And as I'm not being condescending to you, Updog Kamali, but referees, that's what it should be. Like it seems like that's what's the word? Like that's obvious, but the refs are not reffing like that. So that's the frustrating part for me. And we've got just one more little one here. I'm just looking at this one.
He's spot on with that.
Oh yeah, and
all
shout
those
out to Taif, weird username. This is another one off the back of the Saifidi tearing his calf. Is my sound? I just moved this. Is my
I'm
sound
listening.
all right?
Did he? Yeah.
So Safidi ran on the field and did his calf. We all agree that they should have just activated the 18th man. Do you think that would have been fair?
100%, yeah.
And not losing.
No. I agree. Yeah.
How about in 2019 when a prelim final when BJ Lalua had a firework? When the fireworks
didn't
smack
it?
him in the eye
Yeah.
and it impaired vision. That should have been the same thing. I believe Canberra lost the sub for that as well. He had to come from the field. They ended up winning, so it wasn't an issue.
They've got to do something about that, don't
But
they?
if something crazy happens before the fucking whistle was blown, I think it's a no-brainer that get him either subbed, and if he can't play, the 18th man is activated and the team is not punished, because I can't see a world in which that would be an occurrence. Or I was trying to think of how a team could potentially benefit by playing mind games last minute. Like, just say if you did it and you wanted to hide an 18th man for the last minute. And
and that's probably what they're trying to think.
Right. That would be, if a team did it, you'd go, all right, we'll give you the benefit of the doubt once, but fool me twice, fucking shame on me.
Yeah.
You know, you're not going to get me twice.
Or
So
just throw in an independent fitness test if you're going to do that last minute shenanigans.
yeah, you've got independent doctors there, so potentially that could be it.
They need to activate the 18th if something like that happens.
Yep. All right. I had a chat to Fozzy. We had a good chat to Fozzy. We seen the clip that was posted up. He talked about eligibility. He talked about his New Zealand Mount Rushmore. Here is where Foz went with his top 4 Kiwis of all time. All right, this weekly catch-up with two of the very best is brought to you by Athlete, the best in the business for joint and muscle pain relief, and they are built tough for you, your family, and the best athletes. Even got some of the products here just in front of me. Here we go. Got the Beast Joint and Muscle Pain Relief for rest and recovery. Got the Physio Spray is here as well. Athlete have really stocked me up. You know what it feels like too, Fozzy? Because I've been so far removed from the game, chucking the cream on, it gives me that locker room feel again.
You miss
that.
Denker rub smell. Yeah, 100%. Mate, their stuff's incredible. You know, I use their bath salts all the time, and like throughout the season, when I after a game or the day after a game, I'll just pour half a tub of that into a hot bath and just soak in it for 20 minutes. It's unbelievable.
So a couple of times a week you'll be using the Athlete?
Yeah, for sure. Like, so if I'm really sore through a week, I'll have a salt bath with their stuff, 2 times leading into a game, but generally always that day after, mate, just soak in a bath. It's incredible.
How is the rig? Just a quick one. Injury update. Are you how are you trending?
Tracking along really nicely, mate. I'm probably about a month off, I reckon. I'm nearly 6 weeks post surgery, so I'm hard at it. I'm working tirelessly in the gym with our performance staff and rehab guys, and I'm pushing as fast as I can to get back. So it's frustrating being on the sidelines, but the boys have, they've started reasonably well, and hopefully they can tick over a couple more wins, and then I can join them in about a month's time.
Beautiful. Just a quick one, mate. We're going to start off the show. I've got a really unique question for you. I remember when I arrived to the club, and even growing up, a proud Kiwi. My dad represented the Kiwis. I was stoked when I heard that you announced yourself for the Kiwis at a really early part of your career. So there's been a lot of chat recently about the Payne Haas and even one of your teammates, Tino Fasua-Malawi, and the eligibility rules. Where I know the answer to this, but I'd love our fans to hear this. You were always going to represent the Kiwis, but when did you arrive to Australia, Foz?
Yeah, I was 8 years old, Hoz. So I was young. It's a question I always get asked. But mate, continue with what you were going to say, and then I'll answer.
So just quickly, the decision to and not even the current eligibility. You would have been approached, I would imagine, really early from. Once you made your debut to represent both the Kiwis and potentially Australia and New South Wales, was that a hard decision for you, or were you always Kiwis through and through?
Yeah, see, it wasn't hard for me at the time, Hoz. So obviously moving to Australia at a young age, a lot of people assume that it would have been a tough decision for me, having done the majority of my rugby league based here in Oz. But I was so Kiwi through and through. Like those integral years when I had been shaped, in the household, watching the All Blacks and watching the Kiwis play the Kangaroos, I knew straight away where my loyalty lied. Like I was just, by the time I had made my NRL debut and the club had come to me and said, look, you've got to pick your eligibility, it was quick for me. Like I knew straight away, I'm staying true to who I've always wanted to represent and what I've always felt I stood for. And so I always saw myself as a Kiwi. I always saw myself wearing the Kiwi jersey and playing against Australia. But it's a really interesting one, mate, because I've always been asked, would you have loved to play Origin and would that have swayed you and things like that? And Yeah, as good as Origin is, and I tell you what, I absolutely love it, and I get a little bit jealous inside not being able to be a part of it. I honestly don't feel like I would have given up a Kiwi jersey to be a part of
Okay.
it. But if I had been able to play both,
All right, let me get to that then. Here we go. I'll
Yeah.
lead you into this. A hypothetical. A lot of the chat recently has been about the tier system. I've thrown out Kalen as an outlier. I've thrown out Victor Radley as an outlier for the Poms. And you are always the example I have used in years past about the tier system. If you were, this is a hypothetical. If you were given the opportunity in your prime with your good friend at the time playing Origin and going through it against, I'm talking about Mitchell Pearce for those who don't know, he was going against, the best Queensland team of all time. If given the chance, would you have loved to have represented New South Wales whilst also representing New Zealand, who was your priority choice at the end of the year?
100%. Like I as I was saying, like I always get a little bit envious at that time of the year when Origin's on, because I'm like, how good would it have been to have been a part of that? And unfortunately, as Kiwis, we don't get to play in that arena. So for us, Test footy is our absolute ultimate, and we throw everything into it. And in saying that, as Kiwis, we always feel like international footy is the pinnacle, because we get to play against the best of Australia, and that's the best of New South Wales and Queensland coming up against us. So we've always felt that is the pinnacle. But yeah, mate, it would have been super cool to be able to play in the Origin arena alongside, a bloke I grew up with in Mitchell Pearce at that time, when, I was in the prime of my career. It would have been awesome. But, it's a really interesting debate going on in conversation, because the landscape of the game has changed so much. And we're not talking about the 80s and the 90s anymore. We're talking about 2025. And, I dare say it, I don't know how we can call Origin the pinnacle of our game if it doesn't have the best players in it. So, what frustrates me is when people go, oh, it's the pinnacle of our game, but I don't know how it can be the pinnacle of our game anymore if Jerome Hughes isn't playing in it, or, James Fisher-Harris, or, these great New Zealand players that haven't been able to be a part of it. Take nothing away from it. It's the best of New South Wales versus the best of Queensland, and that's what makes the fierce rivalry that it is. So I understand from the people within the inner sanctum of that how they don't want to ruin the fabric of that, and I understand that. I do sympathise with that, because once we start adding in New Zealanders and Poms to the Origin arena, well, then we lose the fact that it is so much hatred and loyalty between New South Wales and Queensland. Do you know what I mean? That genuine.
But that's why, just sorry to quickly get in there, Fozzy. That's why I'm asking you the question, because I still think that the eligibility to play should be determined by your age. Now, you arrived when you were 8. You grew up in New South Wales. You understood. Do you have any doubt in your mind that you could have played in a blue jersey with passion and really felt and got the best out of yourself to go against a Maroons team because you had arrived so early? See, I've said this before, and quickly before you answer that, I don't think I'd like to see Sam Burgess come over here from England at 20 years old and play Origin for New South Wales. I don't think I'd like to see Sonny arrive from New Zealand at 17 in the Bulldog system and play for New South Wales. But for an outlier like yourself, and I think there's going to be way more of them moving forward, you arrived here at 8 years old. You went to primary school in New South Wales. I think you are the perfect example of a person who should be allowed to play, should have been allowed to play Origin, and then represent the Kiwis at the back end of the season.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you, Hoz. When you put it in that perspective, and I think about it in that way, there's no denying that had I worn a blue jersey, that I would have shown the same amount of passion for that jersey as I would have for a Kiwi jersey, for sure. Yeah, having grown up here, like I said, you're invested in rugby league. You love the spectacle that it is. to represent the state that you've then been a part of and growing up in, for sure. Yeah, it's a really interesting one, mate. I enjoy the fact that it's being spoken about because I think it has to. Because I do think times are evolving and they're changing, and the amount of players that we have now from different backgrounds and different cultures is just forever changing. So I enjoy that the chat's being thrown.
All right, well, let's move to the Kiwis. Now, we had a conversation. We had a really good question on our Monday show, Foz, and your name come up. And we were discussing where Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, and he's still got some career to go. He's still playing right now. Where does he sit in the GOATs for New Zealand? When you looked at it, wasn't until I seen his resume, Foz, that I started to really consider where we put him. And then we obviously tossed up your name, and we tossed up really successful guys who won comps like. The one name we forgot was Jerome Hughes, actually. We actually forgot Romey, but we talked about Benji, we talked about SJ, obviously Stacey, Ruben Wiki. Do you have a Mount Rushmore number 4? And this is just your 4. Like, who are your favourite? You're a passionate Kiwi. Who's your favourite 4 of all time? Your own personal 4.
Are we talking different eras, or are we just saying all time?
And you know what the hard thing is too, just before to cut you off as well?
Yeah.
It's very hard with us because we don't have origin. You know, when you start comparing GOAT status, origin comes in and into it a lot for Aussies, where for us, I think it has to be, obviously the World Cup team in 2008, they get a massive tick for us.
Yeah.
Have you won a Pacific Championship? Have you won a 4 Nations? And then the other one, and the big one, is just like yourself, won a competition.
Yeah. Look, I'm going to go Ruben Wiki, purely on I reckon when you talk about mana and leadership and like the passion that he showed when he played for the Kiwi jersey. For mine, he's and he did it so many times. He led the country so well.
I think he's a lock for most Kiwis' top 4 groups.
Yeah, he sits in that for me. I'm then going to go Stacey Jones, the little general. I can't leave him out. Like, he was my idol as a kid growing up, and mate, I read his book about 50 times. And for me, being a young Kiwi boy at that time, he was a real icon of New Zealand Rugby League. So he's going to sit at 2 for me. And then this is interesting because now I'm starting to come a bit more into this era. But can you give me more than 4, Fozzy?
No. Let's keep it 4 because this is the beauty of the game.
Yeah.
Because me and Mace went through about 6 or 7, and I reckon most Kiwis would definitely have Stacey and Rubes. I think they're locks. And then
now you're making it hard. And because I tell you what, I'm going to throw one at you. I'm going to throw Simon Mannering at you.
I like Simon Mannering.
I'm going to do mate, hard as nails, and what the desire and the way in which he turned up for his team in that Kiwi arena was something special that I really witnessed. But then the 2 that spring to mind, this is where you make it hard, are obviously Benji and SJ. I find it really difficult to leave those 2 out, so I'm gonna put Benji and SJ in there, and I'll make it knowing that Juju, the great Simon Mannering, sits just outside that 4. But yeah, I would go for mine at the moment, at this present time. I'm going to go Ruben, Stace, Benj and SJ. I think Benj and SJ, mate, they stood up massively in the Test arena, and they came up with some special moments in Test games, and that's why they probably get in there for mine.
That's a good 4, mate. That's a really good 4. And obviously, because of our age, like my dad's era, guys like Mike Graham, there'll be a lot of people who will be watching this, right? And they'd be right up there. But That's who we grew up watching, and mate, that's that's very similar. A little bit of bias. I had you in mind, but maybe that's the relationship. The relationship does matter, but no, I honestly believe that, mate. All right, got a good question. We had a really good question from Jimmy Reed that did Unreal for our socials a couple of weeks ago, Fozzy, and I reckon you're going to like this one, mate. So this one comes from Had It Knees. Sup the boys, question for Fozzy next week. As a Kiwi that's played alongside some of the best Aussie leaders in the game, in your opinion, as the evolution of the Polynesian and Indigenous game in the NRL has exploded, how have you noticed the uptick in those players, Polynesian, Indigenous, stepping into leadership roles? Now, I told a story about a conversation that me and Ches were talking about a few years ago with Georgie Defua when they were going through a transition period, and Ches relaying that Georgie's got probably a bigger voice than he even gave himself credit for. So that's the story that Had It Knees sort of got the base of this question from. He also said, cheers, legends, love your Fozzy, and a big fan, and he wanted to make sure we said that in Money's voice, so big fan, Fozzy.
Love it. You know what? I feel like, to give you an example, like we both played with Stevie Maddai at Manly. Great Kiwi player, one of Manly's all-time greats. But at that time, when we talk about how many Polynesians and Indigenous players were at the forefront of most teams, I think the numbers have grown increasingly higher now, and so I've loved watching the power and numbers of these Polynesian and Indigenous players actually feel like they've got more of a voice and they've got something that they can actually impart on the team. And there's a number of them involved in each and every team and club now. And I think that you can't deny that we've seen such an increase in numbers in Polynesian and Indigenous players across our game, which has been so great. And I think the product of that is that they've now got such a bigger voice, and we're seeing their leadership style actually come to the forefront, as opposed to, when I think about playing alongside Skivvy, he just led with his actions, and he didn't have a great deal to say. Maybe that was his personality type, but he was a guy that just said, look, I'm going to do my talking on the field, not off it. But I feel like, especially in the last 5 years, these guys have found such a voice, and it's been tremendous to watch their leadership grow in that space. And I feel like that's just purely because we've just enabled them to just feel comfortable in that space. I don't know if that makes sense with what I'm saying.
Mate. And I've said this before, and I was talking about the George situation. It's the way, it's their culture. It's a cultural thing as well. They're brought up to be very respectful, sort of, respect your elders like we do as Aussies and Kiwis, but it's just a sort of different level, head down sometimes, some of those different traits. Give us an insight into Tino as a leader. What's Tino's best attribute as a captain of the Titans?
Yeah, well, I've watched Tino grow considerably in the last 12 months, especially. But I think, he's such a big guy, such a big presence. So I think naturally you're drawn towards him when he walks into a room and when he arrives at training. But on top of that, I think he's got a wonderful balance in the sense that he trains really hard, mate. So he leads with his actions in terms of his commitment and his application to his work every single day. But where I've seen the most growth in Tino over the last 12 months is just his ability to address the group, and how the way in which he does it and rallies the troops and things like that. He's just worked out what to say at exactly the right time, when to say it, how to say it, and things like that. So, he's still a young guy. You're talking about the captain of our club at 24. He's had a lot of pressure put on his shoulders from a young age, but, mate, he's handled it like a champion, and I really love his leadership qualities. I do. He's not egotistical. He's not bravado. It's not all about Tino. Tino has a passion for the club and a desire for the club to succeed, and that's bigger than himself. And he tries to place that onto his teammates and club members and inspire them with his, same sort of...
Yeah, well said. Well, that's exactly the way I viewed him. I've said this for years now since I've been doing the content stuff. I love watching presses. I've really enjoyed, times where you've been up there with Desi, and he's a bit quirky, and he's a bit of a different personality. But when I see Tino up there as a skipper, just so impressive the way he speaks. It's he's still relatively young in his adult life, but he's now been around the league for 4 or 5 years, and he's done a really good apprenticeship up there in Melbourne as well. So you can see all that come through, and I'm glad some of the stuff you said about him there. It's the way that I've always viewed him. So that's awesome for him as a leader at your club, and he's going to be he's got another 10 years left.
Oh, 100% he does, mate. I think that deal's about 12 years, so he'll be there for a while.
Yeah, you wouldn't mind the 10-year deal back in the day, Fozzy?
Sorry, mate. I just lost you then, Fozzy. What'd you say?
I said those 10-year deals, they would have been nice, Fozzy. I was flat out trying to get 1-year deals.
I've been on 1-year deals for the last 5 years of my career.
Mate, that was an awesome chat. I really appreciate doing this with you each fortnight. All the best with your recovery, and we'll chat to you in a couple of weeks.
Thanks, Ozzy. Thanks for having me.
Cheers, Foz. You missed it. We haven't posted it yet. So Foz's top 4, because people have watched this already now. He went Ruben Wiki. I think he's everyone's Mount Rushmore.
Easy.
Stacey's on everyone's Mount Rushmore. And he went SJ and Benji. That was his 4.
Yeah, that's
New Zealand top 4. Yeah,
big shout for Simon Mannering as well.
Who's that?
He had a
big shout. He had a Simon Mannering as a smoky, and he just talked about his relationship and just a little bit of bias because you play with the guy and you know how tough he plays the game. The leadership.
He's like Yowie.
Yeah,
he's like
is.
Yowie.
He is.
He reminds me of Yowie. Just very unassuming, does all the work, and just great captain, good leader.
Started on the edge, played in the middle as well. Did all the tough stuff.
Me of Yowie.
All right, let's get to the WARS replies off the back of the Multicultural and Anzac round snubs. Got some really good information here. First one's from T. Mackey. Regarding the Warriors not as a multicultural round, my calculated guess is that the multicultural round is really for Australia media and just PR. The game that the WARS will use their multicultural round is most likely the Matariki Māori New Year game against the Panthers at Mount Smart. It's usually the game when players with iwi, which is the tribe, connections are acknowledged.
Okay.
The players with Pacific Islander connections like Samoa, Tonga and Fiji will be acknowledged against the Broncos at Mount Smart this month. Keep up the good work. Love the podcast. Thank you, Tim Mackey. That's a good
cool.
shout. That's an educated guess too, by the way. That is not been confirmed by anything, but I think that's a good shout, and that does make a lot of sense. The next one about the Anzac Day game, and a lot of people messaged us about this one, but the first one I seen was from Little Rogo. With regards to the Storm not going to New Zealand on Anzac Day, the NRL is absolutely desperate to have a game in Melbourne on Anzac Day because they want the overflow from the AFL game. Out of the 25,000 crowd, approximately, that Melbourne get, 10,000 of them have either Pies or Demons jerseys on. NRL don't want the biggest day in AFL to be on its own. I wish, as a Storm fan, that I went to New Zealand, but money talks, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes, it is the biggest day. My Pies mate tells me that it is harder to get Anzac Day tickets, compared to Grand Final tickets.
Yeah, it's Essendon.
So there's really good information about that as well.
Essendon and Collingwood that Anzac Day?
Potentially,
sure,
yeah. So maybe it's D's, not Demons. No, sorry. Who
Essendon.
Essendon.
They're the Bombers.
They're the
Bombers. Yeah.
It's the Bombers and Collingwood, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, yeah. So that does make sense.
110,000.
It is disappointing that we're relying on AFL fans to filter into the game, and then
Really?
also New Zealand not be rewarded off the back of that. But that does make sense to me. That is like a genuine reason, and although I disagree with it, and I wish Melbourne had taken some games back to New Zealand, I understand the thought process.
And the growth of Melbourne. I mean,
it's a huge event. I know Anzac Day games are huge for them,
Huge,
and if Little Rogo is correct, Little Rogo, Anzac tickets harder to get than grand final tickets. It's crazy.
Did you see this week they're trying to take 2 games to the MCG, the Storm?
fucking why?
Because there's some reason no AFL games one weekend, so they're trying to have a game at the G. First time since when they won the premiership.
20,000 people there.
No, they're saying they're
confident.
It's just the It's the
reckon?
confidence. It's the confidence in an NRL at the moment.
Okay, I just don't want it to look stupid.
Yeah.
Fuck, we're all fans of the game. I don't want to play in the MCG. Even 50,000 looks silly.
Yeah.
It's 110,000 people fit in that fucking monstrosity. It's the best.
I seen the Melbourne. I think he might have been the chairman. It wasn't Tripp. It was someone else. He goes, "Look, it's bold, and we may be going a little bit hard, but you're right, Mason. I'm with you. If they don't fill it out,
It looks silly.
It makes us look even worse.
And it is the worst ground to watch footy at.
Yeah,
the worst. We're not Origins down there. You could be fucking 150 metres away from people.
Yeah, I caught Origin down there last year, and it's like I've never been there before, and it was such a cool experience to be at the
that was cool as hell.
But it wasn't an ideal.
It was all right for me. I was sitting behind
had a
and
good
up.
spot.
That was mad, but not like if you're sitting even if you're on the side. I was a couple of years before that. I was on the side in a box. It was like to see the other side, the other winger, which was Fox. He was like 150 meters away from me.
Yeah,
I was watching it on the screen. It was not a good place for rugby league. Best place for AFL and cricket.
Yeah,
that's the home. That's the best ground in Australia. It'd be looking awesome when they have a fucking NFL game down there.
Where were you sitting for the MCG game?
Next to Mace, behind the post, so we could watch all the shape that was getting done.
Yeah, we could see everything.
Give us an indication. So when Bizzer and Latrell scored their tries in the first half down that left
Latrell
edge?
was in the opposite corner.
So
we're on the other side.
Okay, yeah. So I was above you guys up the top,
Queensland.
and it felt like I was forever away from that try. You know, when Latrell,
way up there, that end. You couldn't see shit.
I was up behind you guys in a box, and I felt so far away from it.
Yeah.
It's ambitious.
Yeah.
It shows the confidence of where we are right now as a game that we're even contemplating this, in my opinion. Yeah. I would prefer we keep building with Melbourne Storm and the popularity of the Melbourne Storm down there. But in saying that, Melbourne Storm, for probably a lot of people, are the team to beat this year. And if they are going to pull it off, I think it would be an entertaining game in terms of the Storm's style of play right now. But I am a little bit worried.
Yeah, I mean, Storm, Melbourne is AFL. That's it. If they were going to buy into the Storm, they would have by now. They get 20,000 if they're lucky, if they're killing it. They've been killing it for 20 years. They've been in the finals all the time. They're the most successful club team in Australian sports history. So and they still can't pack out Amy Stadium. So how are you going to do that at the MCG?
Do you think maybe the one-off might entice a few more?
No, I don't. I just don't think so.
Unders and overs on the crowd then for a game at Anzac. I'll go under and over 40,000.
Yeah, I think it'd just be on 40.
Right on 40?
Yeah, I reckon. And that'll look silly.
Yeah, okay.
You have 40,000 at Acor looks silly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And anything under 30, and anything under 40 looks pathetic.
What's the capacity? Is it 100,000 at
110,000 at the
I think
MCG,
it used to be 110. It's 100 now.
It's 100 now.
Because when I did Full House,
100's
Liverpool
too much.
versus
100's massive, but they pack it out fucking every week.
Yeah, that's crazy.
80, 90,000 easy because of the membership. It's run different. Like Collingwood's got 100,000 members. Essendon's got nearly close to that. Carlton's got close to that. So you're not paying to go in the game. You're all members. You'll go to the game for free. Got their own allocated seats. It's a culture thing. It's like soccer right there. They hand their tickets, their memberships down to their kids, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's a culture thing. It's great.
Yeah.
But we
It's
don't
a lot
have that
better
in
product
rugby league. We don't have it in rugby league.
It's a lot better
It's
product.
simple as that. We just don't have it. Ours is different. We want to watch it on TV. It's about it.
Just while we're on Anzac, I shared the Knights jersey. You got some really good information on that too, Mace. I really like the Knights jersey for Anzac Day where Caleb was repping it, and you said it is the colour scheme.
Just the colour scheme of Newcastle of the Hunter region. It is. It's the green, brown, and white. So when I was younger, we used to play and represent the Newcastle Hunter region, and that they were our colours. And when you sent it to me, I was like, that's
even better.
Yeah, that's way better because the Knights obviously that was Newcastle. Obviously, the Knights come in '88, I think. And then, so they were the colours of Newcastle region, all that. So if Newcastle played somewhere down in Sydney or played a up Queensland team, that's the colours that they wore. So a lot of history there.
It's even got a bit of the colour scheme matches, and it feels like the Diggers as well. Like
the brown, green, and the white. It looks awesome.
Yeah, I thought they did, and Kalen can make anything look good, but that jersey looks silky.
No, it looks good.
Looked really good. So shout out to Newcastle.
There's even a little patchwork that they've done. It's normally apparently on the shoulders. On the jersey, it is sort of like bottom left, but it's reflective of that as well.
Right, I love what they've done there. Just brought back a lot of memories for me, like from under 12s to
and on the back,
12s to 16s. Yeah,
got both the Australian and the Kiwi flags on the back of the jersey, which you don't often apparently.
Shout out Newcastle.
Yeah, Newcastle's really nailed it
because they butchered it the year before.
They fucked
that
up
really bad
jerseys.
stock image that they used.
Oh, was it Newcastle?
They just searched war veterans or something, and it was the first image that comes up in Google.
Newy's got this one this year.
I thought it was Tigers that stuffed it up. Did Newcastle stuff it up as well? Did they?
Maybe I'm wrong. I'll fact check that. And if I'm wrong, I'll cut myself out.
Anyway, there'll probably be. Fans will let us know.
They'll sell that jersey because people from Newcastle would know where that jersey's from.
That's an awesome jersey. Shout out Newcastle.
Because all the guys, even like, so if you play in the Newcastle Tooheys Cup comp and you make the Newcastle rep team, that's the colours you wear.
Awesome. Yep, love that. Good shout from you, mate. So I just like the it made me. It felt like it represented the Diggers well.
Yeah,
to say that it's even Hunter region as well on top of it. Well done.
Yep.
To Newcastle. All right, Josh Karatiana. This one is, again, going to the Wires fans and a bit of a blow up I had last week. This is a really good shout. Hey, boys, just to follow up from my question weeks ago about James Fisher-Harris and the impact he has had on the Warriors. I know it's only 5 rounds in, but it's noticeable. Last week on the Warriors bye round, he organised his own training camp in his hometown up in Northland, New Zealand. His impact is already going deeper than just the Warriors. Always the best opinions. Much respect to you, Scope, and the Triple AG. I know Mace doesn't read these with a smiley face, but I'm reading them out for Mace, so Mace has seen that, and thanks, Josh, and a really good one. That's more just...
That's awesome.
That's just a shout out. That's
probably one of the reasons why he went back to New Zealand.
Yep.
That's what he wants. Like he can make such an impact off the field, and he knows that. I think it's brilliant what he does. He's a good man.
All right, let's get to the Sharks spine, and we've got a solution here, or at least a bit of a way of tweaking and bringing out the best in Nico, whilst also keeping Will Kennedy. So Toddy H goes, love your work this season, boys. Aging like a fine wine. Taking my licks here on a question in the preseason because he talked about Will Kennedy's spot. He's been epic, but I still don't think he has to be better. I still think he has to be better at the last pass. I don't hate Skip's Nico at fullback take at all, but here's another option. I think part of the issue is without legit ball players in the pack, especially at 13, defensive lines see things a little bit clearer when we're in good ball, and it hurts Nico and Tricky with time and space. I'd give Hohepa Puru 10 games at 13 and see if he can be the link man. I think he looks really nice and ready for NRL. Everyone says we are close but missing something to win a comp. Maybe he's the dude that can add something to our pack. McInnes is a team-first dog and will impact the game from the bench. And if we have to drop Atco, then so be it. Fitzy needs to be ruthless. I don't hate this take. Did you see Hohepa play in the Indigenous All-Stars game at the start of the year?
Not really, I haven't seen much of him.
Yeah, so him and his brother, so he's playing in the New South Wales Cup for a couple of years.
Yeah, I do. I remember now.
So he was the lock, the ball-playing lock, and his brother played halfback.
Yep.
And he had some really nice touches in that game. He adds a little bit more skill. He also, I believe, spent some time with Sticky at the Raiders in the last couple of years. So he teamed up with his brother. So I don't hate that because I've always thought...
It's hard to get McInnes out of that starting side because of his defence.
Yeah.
It's all. I know they need something because I know exactly how they defend the Sharks, how you defend them, because they just have those two leads there. They've got Kafusi and Fanua Blake either side. You just got to check on those guys, and it goes out the back, and you got to obviously account for the lead, right? And then it's a sprint to that ball player, either Braden Trindle or Nico. and you're just fucking covering ground so easy because they're way dangerous when they just start hitting front guys. They've got to do that. They've got to have something else that can connect the two guys like Blake. Even if he gets the ball first, he just has it's a simple block shape.
Yeah.
It's very easy to defend until they get one-on-ones like out wide with Nikora. Right?
Yeah.
He's the only one who can really make some fucking room there. Same as Blake. But I don't think they really need that ball playing fucking lock to change it all up. They just need to execute a little bit better.
Okay.
I think, like Nico seems to be fucking totally lost when they get into that zone. He's either just the guy out the back and then passing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
I'll
add something. You know how we talked about Moylan on the last. We talked about Moyser on the last episode. The beauty of what Moylan did for Nico is Moylan played like almost the ball playing lock as well. Because Moylan was happy not to have the last pass. That's the difference between Tricky and Nico right now. They both want to have
similar.
They both want to have the final pass. And
fucking looks really.
Moyser didn't light up the stat sheet with try assists, but what he did was he created space for Nico.
Yeah.
And he was happy to play Robin. I think they're both trying to be Batman.
Yeah, Nico doesn't look like he has any room at all. Like every time Nico gets the ball, fucking people are just trying to get him. Like they're on him straight away. It looks like he has no room at all.
Moyser was really good at squaring up and getting those A and B
so it
defenders.
needs to be bang, bang pass out the back to Nico so he's outside the 4-man.
Yeah.
He can't do anything inside that. If he's just out the back of a block shape, it's so easy to defend Nico. It's so easy to defend anyone.
Yeah.
So I mean, they just need to tinker with a little bit of shape there and just try and get Nico into space a little bit more because he's fast and he's got great skills. He can play. He's not finding himself in those positions where I'm like, I watched him a whole set of 6. It was just like pass, dummy, pass, like never not digging into the line, anything like that. Like the 3 years ago, he's digging into the lines, going down short, so he's running the whole fucking team. But that was because Moyes would let him.
Yeah.
Now Trindle wants to do that as well.
No, Trindle wants it.
Yeah, he wants to fucking. It's my team. So I'm like, that's great, but it doesn't work. It's not working.
Yeah,
that's what's frustrating. I'm like, what do you do now as a coach to get back to what it was attacking wise 2 years ago? Yeah, because you've got Fanua Blake and everyone is fucking. They're so dangerous near the line. It's very hard. It just doesn't look as good as it did 2 years ago when you didn't have Trindle.
They're a dangerous team.
So dangerous. So they get it together. They get it together.
They're a top 4 team.
They're a top 4 team. They can have a crack at winning this comp.
Yeah.
I reckon.
Yes, I agree.
And I just go, how do you fix it? And I don't know how to fucking fix it. Right? This is up to Holsworth out there and Steve Price and all these sort of guys out there and Fitzy to try and sit down with these guys and go, okay, it's only in the red zone where it looks like, oh fuck, you can.
They do really well marching up.
They can score from fucking anywhere because their back 5 can score from anywhere. Their forwards get you on
power
the
game's unreal.
Front foot easy, and then it's just about executing. They look early on in the year. They look fucking pretty sharp. Now people start like doing a lot of video on these guys, trying to like really shutting down. Like we shut down Trindle and Nico, and it fucked their whole team in the red zone. It looked like they couldn't score. You know, it was just like real inside pressure. And then what does the next team do? They do exactly the same thing. You allow for them to we'll give you 50 metres, guys. You're going to get it because you've got one of the best back 5s and one of the best packs in the game. We'll allow 40 metres, right? But when you get in the red zone, it's different.
Here's a dangerous thing for them this week. I think they'll get it together against Manly because Manly don't have the best ruck control.
No, they don't.
And all
terrible.
that sort of stuff. So this could be a front foot game for Cronulla to get it. This could be a get right game for Cronulla.
Like they're really dangerous, like 40 metres out. But when they're on play the ball online, you can sort of semi-stop them or 20 metres out because you can really fucking get some line speed going and hunt from the fucking inside and really put pressure. It's hard to you put that much inside pressure on. And that's where Brayley's got to be a little bit tricky. And those big guys need to be like genuine threats near the line. Then you won't be checking off Fanua Blake and sprinting out to Trindle, right? Hit the big guy, hit it, bang, go back the other side. You know, like start messing with the middle a little bit more than trying to score out wide. And because that's where they get most of their joy is the middle, the Fanua Blakes and the near corers.
But like Brayley's a good player, but if he doesn't have that in that bag, maybe Toddy's shout then having a ball playing middle could provide that for him.
Yeah. And how we just say we're like a Kurt Mann. right?
Yeah, that's
a
who
Kurt
could
Man
be.
comes
Dylan
on.
Walker, Kurt Man
a
type.
Kurt Man comes on,
Yep.
and he doesn't play off the 9. He just plays outside C, right? Tupanua hits those holes at the 4-man. That's where
Keep you honest.
that's where a lot of space is that a lot of teams don't expose. We always think we're going to go block for block for block for block for block and score out on the wing. The fucking holes are right on the edge.
They need
You're trying
to be
to
tested.
expose the 4 and the 3-man, and that's what you want to do. You just one ball can skip all the middles. Fuck off. Get the ball straight get it a C and to the 4-man. Get a big guy running outside in line at like a Nico or whoever's defending 3-man. He has to account for that guy running that line if it's genuine. There's the space. It's not always through the middle and all the block plays and all that sort of shit. It's right on the edge. And most teams who do that, they fucking nail it.
Yeah. Dylan Walker had a real effect.
You just got to have that. You've got to have, as you said back to the comment there. Yeah, if you've got a person that can do that.
Yeah.
McInnes can't do that. He's just an animal.
Yeah.
I think we were saying Teague. I think Teague Wilton could do that.
Yeah. Well, let's have a look at this Puru guy.
Maybe this kid. Yeah.
Toddy must be watching the games for New South Wales Cup. He's playing well.
Is he in the side this week?
No, but he's just throwing it. He's just throwing it out there as an option.
Definitely something to look at
for the South Sydney. Pardon me. Wait 1 second. Let's do this. All right, let's get to this chat from Jimmy Reid. He's talking about the injury toll at South. Now, hey, lads, what is your take on South's S&C team? 3 hammies in one game is insanity. Before that, Munro's done his 3rd collarbone. I will just say collarbone is a contact injury that has nothing to do with S&C. I think that's more genetics and Munro's age and being thrust in the first grade.
And the way that he landed.
Too young. Graham had 2 injuries. Again, they're contact injuries. That's sternum. And then Cam's Achilles. Now, that's soft tissue injuries. That's when you start to question sort of what training programs have been like. So they're probably the Achilles and the hammies are concerning. Last year we had players miss 213 games due to injuries. The next highest was 160.
Oh, wow.
It's just baffling as a fan. We surely can't be doing that much different to any other side, but the numbers don't lie. Look, not great stats. I haven't looked into it enough to see if that has been a trend for South Sydney over the years. I will say I want to give someone a rap there. The best physio that I've ever worked with in my footy career is there currently. I don't know what her level of, how there's sometimes a head physio and then sometimes the backup. Yeah. Vicky Locke was my physio at Parramatta. She is a weapon. She works harder than anyone in the building. At Parramatta, when I was there, you know how they are, mates. Get in at 5 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. They don't leave till
unsung
5,
heroes of the game.
5 p.m. at night, the physios. Yeah, so she does a really good job, and she's got a whole bunch of players to be working on this week.
Give me the run of the injuries right at the moment. That are available to play, but are just soft tissue.
Okay, so the soft tissue ones are Cam's Achilles, obviously.
Yeah, we know that.
Cody, Humphreys, and Ravalawa did their hammies on the weekend.
Yeah.
Obviously, Latrell did his hammy leading into round 1. And Tyron Munro's collarbone.
Yeah, but the Humphreys and Humphreys, Ravalawa, and Cody is the main one, right?
Yeah, who else you got?
The casualty report. Ewan Aiken.
He's back this week. He's back.
Jamie Humphreys, hamstring round 10. Ravalawa, hamstring round 13. Johnson, ribs to be TBC. Achilles, obviously.
They're not, and sorry, it's about the hamstring. They're not grade ones, man. They're not great. They're like
Ravalawa's the worst. Cody's just got a niggle. He'll be a couple of weeks, and Humphreys is in between them.
Yeah,
Could you argue Ravalawa that's not a South conditioning issue, given he's just been there pretty recently?
Doesn't look good though. A couple of weeks in, yeah. I can understand
it's
the
just
question.
the load.
Sometimes you just go through runs like this, but yeah, they're definitely going to have to look at something. Maybe it's.
Is there anything, the yarn that Heffron doesn't have the best grass or anything like that? Is that just bullshit that fans make up? Or?
That's bullshit.
I don't know. I haven't seen the pitch. I don't know.
Might be heavy, yeah. I don't know. It does take it. Yeah. Like Belmore's a beautiful ground. It's always fucking picture perfect. Because it does help. If you've got a heavy ground.
There was someone saying ever since they moved from Redfern, that oval there, to Heffron, the new performance centre, they've had an uptick in
soft
injuries.
Tissues.
That's interesting.
Cars.
Because that was only last year?
I used to play cricket on Heffron a couple of years ago. Like, it was the shitty.
Have you been down there since? You drive past it all the time?
Drive past it all the time. No, I haven't been on the pitch.
Yeah, I want to know what it's like.
It was a putrid ground to play cricket on. But I was just playing C grade cricket. Shout out to the Clow Valley.
You weren't running
crocodiles.
But you weren't running kilometres.
I ran into Yeah, no, exactly. That's my point.
Yeah, that's. I mean, like, I'd love to go check that out because it is a fucking deal. If you've got a ground that is really fucking thick
Should we go down and do a Bronco on there?
Yeah, we do a Bronco. Yeah, half a Bronco.
Who wins?
Fucking not me.
I'll get Mace on a Bronco. He'll get me on a 40.
I have to start the High Rocks
I'd do
training
one.
soon.
Huh?
High Rocks training soon.
Yeah, that's interesting. The Heffron thing. I never thought of that because Redfern was always in good nick, and you get used to that running on that
Could
track.
be, mate. It could be something to look
I
into
bring
for
something
sure.
to the show every now and then. You know?
No, it's
of
fucking.
course,
It's a fair point.
You would do.
It is a fair point because I want to see because Heffron, in my opinion, has always been dog shit. Heffron Park, like it's a fucking dog park, pretty much.
I wonder if
you
they
take
put
things, you know, like then they've all of a sudden built a centre of excellence down there and taken whatever amount of field.
I wonder if they put extra care into like the footy pitch.
No,
of
they
it, though.
would. They would. Yeah,
You'd think so.
still, but you'd have to.
And maybe this is someone's for South Sydney fans as well. Do they have the field blocked off from because it's a public park? People just
You
fucking
can roll on the Belmont too.
From when I went there, the left side behind
Yep.
the tennis courts,
It's blocked out.
I think that's just 6 again for anyone.
Yep.
I'd look like from when I went there, the other side, I don't know if you can get on. I could be wrong.
bet you
I'm gonna
can.
drive
I bet
past
you
on the way
can.
home. I drive past it every day on the way here.
you like look at Belmore, right? You think they're the Bulldogs train there? You can just roll in there and fucking walk your dog if you want, but they don't. Same as Brookie. Remember Brookie? They used to just fucking whole mate with his dog. Get off.
Desi used to get there was chats that Desi used to go and get the trainers to go up and talk to people that were walking past because he thought they were spies.
Yeah.
and they
Fair
were
enough to fucking
yeah, but this is like
2012.
yeah, this is
Yeah.
Melbourne Storm
sure.
versus
Albanese, surely he's got a bit of pull. He can get them a good service.
Yes,
Surely, I
true,
mean,
yes.
if this is a problem, you'll see him. Fucking,
Depends if Dutton wins or not.
They'll dig that up and put a whole new track in.
They've been there since July 23.
There you go. And
So
they've had a
it's not-
shit
that's
run.
why-
Yeah, but there's a
Wayne
little
Bennett
bit of
hasn't
that.
had his fingerprints all over this. If he thinks it's a problem, that ground is going to be dug up and there'll be all new turf.
Flick him a text. What's the
well,
ground
yeah.
like?
I want to go do a Bronco. I want new turf for a Bronco. Just one.
We'll christen the new turf.
Someone asked us a
If
question.
I can fucking run on a Bronco, God.
Someone's asked us a question about our Broncos times. I remember doing it late in my career, but it wasn't as popular as it is now, mate, when we played, was it?
Nah,
we were
used to-
beeping yo-yo.
4
tests.
in 5. No, 4 in 5 was big when I was coming up. It was just like 4 laps in 5 minutes. And that's a 1.2.
But the testing, though. The testing was beeping yo-yo
1.2,
for us,
yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
it? All right, OG, Australia's largest fishing competition is on again, and that is the Pertuck Fishing Challenge. It's ran for 17 years now. This year, there is 336,000 in cash and prizes up for
Wow.
grabs. The biggest year ever. You said if
I-
we're not busy, can we go there and
Can
win
we
some
have a
cash?
crack at it? I did not know that fishing is the #1 sport in Australia. I would have guaranteed it was AFL, rugby league, or something like that. It's fishing.
It makes sense though when you think about it. Like, you know, if you live by a bank of water or you got something around, you just go.
It's awesome. I need someone. Please take me out so I can catch a decent fish.
Okay, because if you do, right, this event supports 2 amazing charities, and they have done for 17 years now. So they are raising money for prostate cancer and neurological diseases like MS, Parkinson's, and Alzheimer. This competition has given over $2 million over the span of the 17 years to these causes. The event is on April 26th and 27th of 2025. You can enter now and get out and go fishing. The website is here, so we will put it in the bio again for Lukey. And Pertuck used to be a major sponsor of Parramatta too, by the way. So when I was playing at Para, Pertuck were a big sponsor, so I've got a great relationship with everyone at Pertuck.
Like, you don't even need to catch a fish to win. You just join the comp. You're in the, for a Sea-Doo, 90K cash. 4 boats are up for grabs.
What?
So if you get in there, 140K
How
worth of
good's
prizes.
that?
The best part about this, when you enter, you get a free hat, you get a sticker, you get a brag mat, and if you are a kid, you get $25 in fishing tackle.
I love a brag, man.
Absolutely free. We like to brag, don't we?
Love it.
We love
a
to brag
man.
here. So we're bragging about Pertuck and their fishing competition.
So, boys,
Lukey?
when they came to us, I said, fishing, obviously the #1 sport, which I learned. We're going to give away a fishing rod.
Ooh, I like it. This is how we'll pick a winner. If you could fish with one NRL player during the Pertuck Fishing Challenge, who would you take and why? So we'll get the funniest or most creative combo. That wins the rod and reel combo, and that is valued at over $250.
Nice.
And we
Thanks
picked
to
that from our YouTube comments.
We will pick that from our YouTube comments. Also, if you want to go on, I said before, we're going to be sharing the link. So pertuckfishingchallenge.com.au. Enter now.
Yep.
and get in your favourite NRL player to go fishing with.
I wonder how many fish dudes that fish in the game.
You'd have to go the Tongan fisherman, wouldn't you?
Scotty Bolton, remember Scotty Bolton?
Sione Katola's got his own fishing channel. Yeah, the shark swinger.
Does he?
Yeah, he's got his own
that?
fishing channel, the Tongan fisherman.
But do you remember
Scotty?
Scotty? Do you remember Scotty Bolton from North Queensland?
yeah.
Right, he
I
was
heard.
like proper like hunter. Like used to go kill pigs, go out there, rainbow trout. Used to make more money off the field fishing than he used to do playing. He goes, "Come fishing with me." 4 hours off the coast. Like, get fucked. He took me and Tong out. Get us back. Couldn't see land, nothing.
Here we go. Mace, this has been big news over the last couple of days. This is broke. So the NRL are considering buying a percentage of the Super League. The NRL will consider purchasing a 33% stake in the Super League, but wants a complete administrative control from 2028 as it looks to expand the sport globally. The Sydney Morning Herald reports a secret meeting was held in Las Vegas earlier this year, and it involved the Wigan and Warrington bosses. So Mike Danson and Simon Moran were involved in those. West Tigers bosses Shane Richardson and South CEO Blake Solly were also there, and they were key drivers in it with the backing of both Abdo and Volandis, having previously worked at Super League clubs. So James Smith wrote this off the back of that. This is one of the comments we got throughout the week's afternoon from the UK guys. Absolutely love the potty, as you guys call it. Listen, watch every week. I wondered if either of you have caught many Super League games this year and wondered what you thought of the overall standard of the game competition over here and whether you think England have a chance in the Ashes series. Also on the back of that, wondered whether you've seen many Hull KR games, and if so, how you think Big Jared has got on. Loving the podcast. I'll answer that for both of us, Mace. I used to love watching Super League. I think there's a really good product over there off the back of this story that's broken. Because I have to watch so much NRL, I don't get a chance to watch as much Super League, but I do see the highlights. I follow the pages. I follow some of the content over there. It looks like Jared is absolutely killing it. Willie Peters is leading the way for Hull KR. They made the grand final last year. They're doing really well.
It'd be good if they won one.
It'd be cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So I think my take on this, I love it. I think the NRL getting involved in this would be great, and it would only improve. What I think is there's a really passionate fan base up there in the north of England around rugby league, and it has to survive. The biggest, I don't think it would cost a whole heap of money just to fix a few things that could make the product even bigger. I've always said this about the quality. For me, one of the biggest differences from leaving the NRL and going to the Super League was the attention to detail to training facilities, programs, and all that sort of stuff. Yep. So if you're able to drop a little bit of money into each club and improve the standards of quality of your training pitches, where you recover and all those sorts of things.
There's only certain clubs, isn't it? Like Wigan and that are pretty spot on. Leeds are pretty good.
Yep.
St Helens. It's the Wakefields. It's the Huddersfields and Cass and I mean they've all improved a little bit, but I believe
Huddersfield's okay.
Yeah.
But even the pitches as well that they train on. I know Wakefield have improved out of sight.
Yeah.
And it took a guy who I don't know what his background is, but he was a person who's done really well over there. He's a millionaire. He sprinkled a little bit of money into Wakefield. Yeah. They've now gone from being in champion the cup below to now I think they've had about 3 or 4 wins in the Super League this year after being promoted. So you don't need a shitload of money. The way I view it, and this is how I was talking about it yesterday on radio, Mace, it's almost when you find like you've a nice piece of land with a shit house on it at the moment. It's a fucking knockdown and rebuild. But you do it up, it's in a good area, and it's going to thrive eventually. You got to take your licks early on, put a little bit of money into it, and if you put the money in and build a nice house on good property and a good land in a growing market, then you can have some joy with it.
And the infrastructure's there in all these clubs.
Yes.
Right? They've got the ground there already. They've got everything there.
There's good talent too.
Hull FC, everybody, they've all got the ground and everything. I just need to upgrade a little bit. That's all.
Yep.
But are we going to try and buy the game, the NRL, 33%?
33%.
That's
apparently.
good. Yeah, and then you could probably talk about what we were talking about a year ago, like trading players, right? Would that be the case? Like if you could, like a player he's just say he's not up to NRL standard and we go, okay, we can swap with someone from St Helens or something like that. Would that be the case there?
I believe there probably would be teams.
A bit more of a relationship. Like it's like you could make that happen.
Potentially.
Yeah.
I think it's more about just building the game over there rather than swapping and changing players. I think that might be the thought process behind it. But I just think there's so much talented players over there. When I look at some of the players that I played with at Wakefield in particular, and I know actually throwing the Catalan Dragons, I had players that, not people, if Pommy fans would know who they are. A guy like Julian Busquet was a big front rower. Big Juju, eh? Juju's just like, I always thought if I put him in an NRL preseason for a couple of years and you're able to develop him properly, he had a great skill set.
Yeah, he was
really good footwork, big body, 115 kilos.
Probably a prototype of a front row.
Yeah, he was silky, had nice touch. So I reckon if the right training facilities, coaching, all that sort of stuff was put into Jew, Tony Gijo was another really talented player. And then at Wakey, we had guys like Tom Johnston and a couple of other players where...
What is it that's stopping them, do you reckon? Is it just not wanting to leave their hometown? I think that's a big thing.
That's a part.
I think Juju didn't want to leave the south of France.
No.
He's probably Frenchman. He didn't want to do it. It's a fucking big deal to come over here, put your balls on the line and try and play NRL. When you can carve up, when you go all right in the French comp in Super League, it's a different ball game over here, mate.
The language barrier.
The language barrier is big, and even I don't know what the salary cap is over there. What is it? Has it gone up? Please tell me it's gone up.
No, I doubt it.
Yeah?
Yeah. The game is nowhere near as strong as it was when obviously the 90s and 2000s. Yeah,
I looked it up when we were talking about that back rower in the Vegas games. So let me try and find it.
Okay.
Yeah, I just think it's great that we are trying to help and build that game up there, because in the north of England, they love their league. Even there's probably space for a team in London. London Broncos was great during the 90s as well.
2024 was £2.1 million.
Yeah, if you can get that to 5 mil, jeez.
But they have marquee player allowances.
Yep.
50 for a club trained marquee, 100 for a federation trained marquee, and £150,000 for a non-federation trained marquee player. Do you know what that was referring to?
Yeah, so it's a marquee player allowance. So like all the big teams get it, but the Wakefields and the Casses they can't afford those players anyway. So it's a waste of time for the teams that are the battlers over there, because I was the marquee player on $100,000.
So the sole reason why
Jacob Miller on that watching this, I was on overs.
So the sole reason why the NRL is coming in is just to build the game up so they don't get financially fucked.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, I think there's a good product over there. So
great product.
Go over and
it only benefits us.
The NRL's in a great position at the moment. Like
they should be helping those competitions.
There's
only two.
Yeah.
Come on.
And we're talking about the eligibility and international footy in that. We've talked a lot about like the benefits for Samoa and Australia by playing in a competition and the format being strong at the end of the year. I grew up, a proud Kiwi, so I loved the battles. This was 20 years ago now, the Tri-Nations when it was at its peak. Yeah, really good English teams coming over, taking on New Mace.
Yeah, good.
In a really good series. We used to have the Tri-Nation series.
They were hard games, man. Playing against, we were the last team to win the Ashes 2003. That fucking games were some of the best games I've been involved in, because we only won in the last 5 minutes, because we could have easily been beaten 3-0. It was crazy. It was just like brilliance of like Lockie or like fucking, I think Wingy won one of them and Rico scored the last try. In the last 5 minutes, could have easily got done.
And it's not like they're scrubs anymore.
Nah, mate, they can play.
Right? So England is just, I know they got home ground advantage, but they just dealt with both Tonga and Samoa in the last couple of years. So we're talking about where, everyone's talking about how far Tonga and Samoa have got. I know they've got to travel and go over to England. That's a factor. But England have taken care of them on home soil. So it's not like they're mugs.
Easily.
There's still heaps of talent over there in the Super League. And we see players come over here. Everyone always points to it's just the nature of the world we live in. Everyone loves to point out the ones that don't work.
Yeah.
But what about the examples of guys that have come over and just killed it? Like
Sam Burgess and the Burgess brothers and fucking
Herbie
James Graham and Herbie and just dudes that come over, Widdop and that. And all it is hard for those guys to leave their hometown. It's hard. You know what I mean? They're comfortable there. They earn enough money to get by. And they come over here to risk everything like that. Like, you've got to really want to play and be the best. That's why usually when they do make the jump, they fucking nail it. Look at this Matty Nicholson kid.
He's looking good.
He looks the goods.
Yeah.
He's athletically built for this game. He's fast, he's big, he's strong. He's only going to get better. And he took a big leap to go, because you're thinking like NRL, they put NRL on a standard here thinking, oh, can I make this? Can I make it? Like hear these horror stories of people not making it. Then you come over here, it's like, hey, yeah, it's fucking hard week in, week out, but it's doable. You know what I mean? Like if you're a big athletic fit kid who's got that, you're about it, you fucking belong in the NRL.
I seen Sammy before. He was talking about it when we were promoting the Vegas, and he's like, I would have loved one more year with Matty Nicholson just to get him ready for first grade.
He's fucking ready.
Maybe just wanted to keep it Warrington because he looks all
we know
right.
what you like, Sammy. He's like a little Sammy Burgess. That's what he is.
When I seen him in the trials, I went, yeah, Sammy's right. He should have spent another year in Warrington. And then he made his debut, and I was like, fuck. Ricky has been unreal at recruiting their attention to detail, or not attention to detail. Their recruitment from the Super League has been really good.
Connection, whoever their connect man is over there, is fucking very smart. That's why we don't put enough effort into going over to England. I don't think, because I don't think there's a few Matty Nicholsons over there.
Oh mate, I'm telling you right now, if I was a team that struggles to recruit star players, I would be. If I was obviously Raiders, if I was the Warriors, I'd be looking at English players a whole lot more than they have done over the last couple of years. I know. See, I reckon maybe they're scarred from the Sam Tompkins signing. Sam didn't quite work out, and maybe that's why they've gone away from it.
Can I say? I think forwards come over here easily. It's a lot easier than an outside back and a half. So the forward can come over here because the game hasn't changed that much in the forwards, right? You're fucking big, strong, fast, fit, and you
tough
can fucking
buggers.
hit and you're tough. Most pommies are like that. They can come over here easily. You know what I mean? And the transition isn't that hard. Whereas a fullback, outside back, half, totally different game. Well, it's very, very expansive over there. They play fucking everything's a shot. You have a crack at everything. Over here, you got to build pressure, all that kind of stuff. It's like, it's a different game. But forwards, they acclimate quite easy if you're a dominant forward over there.
Do you know what the thing with Sam too, and thinking about the Sam situation is he was a really unique situation where he was a proper out-and-out star over in the Super League that everyone knew about here in the NRL.
He had a target on his head.
So he had a certain level of pressure when he came over
Big
here.
time. I remember playing him.
And there were games I remember when he played okay, but because he had a couple of howls, he got bombed early. The pressure just grew really quickly for Sam. Really, and like if you went from the Super League where you were the guy, and then you're getting hammered and scrutinised, that's something that he would never have been used to.
You were still playing it, so when he came over 13, 14, 15, right? Yep. Something like that. And I was playing at Newcastle. The whole game plan was just to kick it at him and
bash him.
Fucking bash him, right? And like he wouldn't have got that in Super League.
No.
You could try and do it over there in Super League, but he just carved you up because he was in the best team.
Yeah, that was so dominant.
He comes over here, Warriors weren't the best at that time. They were decent. And there's never really a shitty Warriors team.
Yeah, 14 and 15.
They were decent, right? And then so players we were just targeting him because one, he's English, he's a pommy, and you just want to, he thinks he at that time he was like touted as one of the best players in the world.
Yep.
What are we like?
Yeah.
You just got to get put in your place.
But yeah, exactly right. So there's a couple of really good points there, mate. So So he played 37 games between 2014 and 2015. How many tries do you reckon he scored?
16.
14. And his win-loss record in 37 games, how many games do you reckon he won? What was his winning percentage?
He would have won 18 games.
You fucking nailed it.
Yeah.
That's the best. So 48%, which is not the worst win. Like if you look over the career of a lot of players, it's in between that. Guys especially that played 100 games. You fucking nailed that. You nailed that.
Rain Man.
That is unbelievable.
Just went Rain Man on you.
Even though like the way he's viewed by a lot of people and a lot of fans as a bust that come over, that's not the worst win or loss record. And maybe just because of the added pressure when he comes over.
It's the system as well. If he comes over and he's in Melbourne,
yes,
or in someone else like the Roosters at that time, or something like really like a high level team, no way. He probably would have played here for 5 years.
He's still playing now.
I know, but he would have played here for a dominant 5 years. He would have found it in a really good system. But at that time, with the Warriors, they're on a bit of a decline.
Ashley.
Yeah.
All right, this one comes from Shieldsy. Did Scoff at Ireland win the World Cup in the future? we will be flying over
What?
You know how I mentioned
Yeah, I know.
the landscape of multicultural, and I see, all the Irish and Pommies that are living in Coogee, and I see all the backpackers all the time. We will be flying over to England for the first 2 Ashes games. If you guys are arranging something, let us know. Shieldsy, look out next week. All right, let's get to the games for this week.
Yep.
Kicking off with the Dolphins versus Panthers,
Dolphins.
Thursday, 7:50 p.m. at Suncorp Stadium. So for the Dolphins, Tom Gilbert makes his return from a suspension. Ray Stone has been handed a week off for his hit on Beaufort Moore, and then also staunching the referee as well. Did you see him staunching the referee as he's walking off?
What was he doing? I'd love to have a chat with Ray Stone. I want to see what that man's built of.
Tom Gilbert.
Craziness.
So Tom Gilbert will go into the back row. Max Plath, he's been playing a lot anyway. I like Max Plath through the middle. Felice Kafusi to prop. Mark Nichols to the bench. As for the Panthers, huge ins. Dylan Edwards and Scott Sorensen are back. Blaze Thalangi will wear the 6th jersey for Jax Cole, who has been placed in concussion protocols, whilst hooker Luke Summerton will play his first game of the season, with Mitch Kenny missing this game as well. So Mitch Kenny's a big out. What odds do we have from our partners at the tab, Lukey?
Dolphins are at $2.90 with tab. Penrith $1.42. The line is 7.5.
I can't go past the Panthers here. They're not going to lose 4 in a row.
5 in a row.
5 in a row. God. Dylan Edwards back massively. He's a huge in. Just his communication in defence and everything that he brings takes pressure off Cleary. Like Cleary's under pressure now, man. I've never seen him have the ball that many times in a game than last week.
I'm excited to see Blaze Talangi with him.
Yeah, but I'm just like, this is where, when you think about the Mount Rushmore, like a couple of years ago when Cleary was fucking on everyone's, and now you got Luai and you got to do everything by yourself. This will really prove to everyone. If he can get these guys out of this shit and get them to like a prelim or something like that.
Yep, immortal.
Yeah, just some same. But because he's got, the guys, the Andrew Johnsons and the JTs and that Cronks, they didn't really have a great 6. Like Cronk, arguably never really had a good 6. He had Widdop and everything a couple of times.
Cronk was in a mad system.
Yeah, great. I know, great. I'm not
JT and Joey.
JT and Joey.
Support.
I'm not even putting Cronk in that conversation, but I'm just saying he didn't really have a Robin that was that good for 10 years, right? Yep. He didn't really. He had bits and pieces, good players, but now he's got to do this by himself, pretty much, with the young Blaze Talangi and with a young back line. Still got a great 4-pack, but he needs to run that team now. And he was creating so much last week. They just didn't execute on the edge. Like they should have won that game clearly. He was in there. He had his hands on everything. So there's a bit of pressure on Cleary now because I still think he's the best player in the comp. I think they just didn't execute on the edges. And Sorensen's a big miss too.
Sorensen's good in.
He's a good in. And Dylan Edwards, just around the back, he's back. Just his presence, and he just knows how to connect. He's the bit on the edge that they've been fucking up. Those last couple of passes, that beautiful and right out in front, they haven't been executing that. From fullback with Dane Laurie's all over the place.
Well, I think the part that they've missed the most, it's easily the most amount of points that they've leaked, and that's because Dylan Edwards is the best defensive fullback in the competition. So you're talking about attack. I'm thinking about defense.
Both as well. They said he'll bring that in defense as well, but with the ball, where Laurie's not that sort of player. You know, where Dylan Edwards knows those perfect lines just to get outside the sea and then bang, bang, little hands. Most of those tries they would have nailed if he was in there. It's just a nice little
tip on, isn't it?
Yeah, but they fucked it heaps of times, and there's a couple of times where they score those tries, it's game over.
They had, on 360 last night, they had communication between Yowie, Cleary and Dylan Edwards for the Vegas round. It was good.
That's your big 3 there.
Yeah.
You know, and if you got those guys back,
it's a dangerous Dolphins team though.
Yeah, Dolphins. Anyone on their day,
Hammer, Jerry Marshall King, Katoa.
I'm just saying, if Dylan Edwards wasn't back, I was nearly going to back the Dolphins.
Okay,
but because I know how highly respected that man is and what he brings to that team, and it's not like electric pace or anything like that. It's just timing, precision, communication, and defense.
My head is telling me Dolphins.
Fucking go then.
My head is telling me Dolphins,
You'll be a genius.
But I'm fearful of the 4-time champions. That's the only thing. I'm looking at everything on the form lines, and they both only won one game. And I thought, probably the Dolphins have been a little bit unlucky in a few games, and I think they looked good.
If you're ever going to take the Dolphins against Penrith, this would be right now.
You've talked me into it. Dolphins.
Yeah.
Let's go.
All right, Dolphins. I hope you win.
All right, the next game is we have the Friday night game between the Dragons versus Titans. I'll be calling this on SEN, so if you want to tune in, go on the SEN app. Coach Flanagan.
Fox will be on mute and SEN will be on.
Yep, sync it up with the TV. All right. Dragons versus Titans. Coach Shane Flanagan is expected to stick with the same 17 that fell to the Eels in Golden Point. Look out for a few late changes in that potentially. Titans Mo Fotuaika will captain the Titans for Tino Suamalawi, who's suspended. He's done that a couple of times.
Well done.
Sam Verrills has been cleared to return. He missed last week, so Chris Randall will move to the lock position, which has been vacated by Fasil Malawi. While named to return for Coach Des Hasler last week, Jojo Fafita was struggling and is unlikely to return. So if anything happens, when he missed last week, Phil Sammy moved to the wing, Beau Famall moved to the centres, and Dave Fafita went into the starting lineup. So look out for a late change in that game. Lukey, what are the odds for this one?
St. George with the tab, $1.53, Gold Coast $2.50. The line is -4.5 for St. George.
Yeah, I'd be putting Dave Fafita at lock. Just let him in the middle.
Kempi was saying that yesterday as well.
I like him. I just want him to get the ball both sides of the ruck and just destroy teams. Give him like 30 minutes and say, front load, do your best, and then just get off.
I don't think he's got the mindset for it.
No, but just fucking make him get it.
Like,
Des fucking tell him, this is what you got to do.
Yeah. Would it be non-negotiable for me to get in there and use it?
I need like, just say in your first 30, I need like fucking 12 touches.
I think he's an out-and-out bench player now. I think that's where he plays his best footy. So if I'm bringing him on, I'd rather him just like, hey, mate, we're going to take the sting out of the game. You come on in the 25-minute mark and just blow them away know that you've only got 55, 60 minutes.
All that. But I just think for him to get his legs back, just start him and just go nuts.
Yeah, go 20. Yeah, that's what Kemp said the same thing yesterday, play him like Spencer Leniu through the middle.
Just a little bit, and then like just get him off, and then filter him out to the edge. Just make sure he starts the game and his presence out there, and he can get quick play of the balls, and he can attack on both edges. You know, the skill set on that human is massive. They don't use it properly.
Mate, Dragons are another team where I think they've got a really good record against the Titans too, by the way. Flanagan's got a really good record against Des.
Yep.
Who are you going to this one?
Tino's out, so I'm going for St. George. I think St. George will win. Too. They'll bounce back.
And they're down at Wynn Stadium as well.
If it was up there, I probably would have flipped.
Okay. Yep, I'm with you. All right, the next game is the Broncos versus the Roosters. That is at 8 p.m. and that is at Suncorp Stadium. So Adam Reynolds is on track to play despite leaving the game. I can't see him playing. Can you? I'd be surprised if he ends up playing.
Hunt straight to 7.
Billy Walters in the starting lineup and bring a hooker off the bench. Anyway, for the Roosters, by the way, Brendan Piakuta is also suspended, so Jaden Hunt will start and Martin Tapu'o will come onto the bench. As for the Roosters, Mark Nawinga Nitawase will be given every chance to prove his fitness. Hugo Savala is the new number 7. So Chad Townsend has been dropped. Victor Radley is on track to play. He returns from that cheekbone injury a couple of weeks ago. So Nat Butcher shifts to prop. And Lindsay Collins is going to miss about 3 or 4 weeks as well with hammy injury potentially.
What's up with who's the kid at 7?
Hugo Savala.
6'4".
What?
6'4", yeah.
He's 6'4".
He's a 7.
Just taller than Rennie. Haven't you seen Hugo Savala? He's played 2 or 3 games off the bench for him this year.
He's the one that Teddy spoke about being his family's in
the bookie.
The bookie.
He works as a bookie at the races.
This guy does.
So his family's his old man's a bookie, and sometimes he's the bag man at the
races. SP bookie.
This is before he's obviously playing first grade.
Yeah, I hope so.
He gets the opportunity to do it anymore.
Speaking of bookies, we've got Brisbane at $1.22 with tab. Roosters $4.30. The line is 14.5.
This could get
ugly. That's a great segue.
This could get very.
That was a really good segue.
This could get ugly. This game, yeah, it's usually pretty tight, but not this one. Payne Haas will run rough shot through that forward pack. It's going to be disgusting. I don't think they'll force Adam Reynolds. You can't. Surely can't. If it's a soft tissue injury and you've got Ben Hunt to play 7.
Billy Walters is in the extended.
Yeah, you've also Billy Walters. I'd still put Ben Hunt at 7.
No, so I'm just throwing some options at you as well, because I agree with you. I think Ben Hunt will play 7, probably Billy Walters will play 6, and then you've got both Tyson Smoothie and Jock Madden in the extended bench to go on the 14 jersey.
Don't risk it.
Yeah.
And what do you go off with the
The hammy.
The hamstring.
Yeah, when he kicked the goal. So he did that mad
that's right,
slow-mo,
yeah.
and then he kicked the goal and went, ooh.
Ooh, here's an interesting name. I didn't see
I
this.
reckon
Noel Reynolds.
My theory on that is if you watch him score that, he fucking pumped the ball into the stands.
Did he?
Stop doing that.
Yeah, that's my little observation.
No.
But then obviously he kicked the goal as well, but maybe
Yeah, but he wouldn't have known.
he went fucking all in on that kick into the stands.
Well, he said in the presser he did it in the first half.
Right.
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
that's
okay.
Of course you're going to say
No,
that.
it doesn't mean that it's true.
I think Reno
I
just
love
needs,
Ren.
Reno needs to understand, like, he's
I love him too.
He's getting a little bit older.
But
The
I
soft
like
tissue,
it. That's
soft
a-
tissue
that's a-
injuries
that's a
come.
good
So I did that Eels, because they played the Saturday night last week. I did the Eels TikTok taking the piss out of that Dragons fan. And
Yeah,
Ren
same.
it would have been like just warm-ups and Ren's gone boom, boom. I'm like, hey.
Yeah, have a rest. I think you can take care of the Roosters without Reynolds.
Yeah.
Just you can't risk that. That could be like a grade 1 fucking bang, grade 3 out for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Do not risk it, Brisbane.
They're also proud team, the Roosters. Like this was the team. This is probably Broncos' best performance of the year against them early on. Suncorp. There's so many things that point towards the Broncos smoking them.
Yeah.
That's when things haven't been going to plan this year. You know, when you're just like,
this comp's fucked.
I'm looking at this game and I've done this for the first 5 weeks and go, Broncos will smash them, because I agree with you.
I have no
and
idea.
then something weird happens.
This has probably been the weirdest in the last 5 years. Been the weirdest start to the game, to the
Feels
year.
like it.
I'm like, I can't even back Penrith with faith. I can't back the Broncos in this game with like 100%.
All right, do you want me to give you
But
my multi?
I'm going the Bronx.
All right, I'm going to give you my multi for this
Come
game.
on.
So what I'm thinking is, originally I was looking at 13 plus. Originally I was looking at the line, but I'm going to go Broncos head to head because just a weird competition this year. I think they'll be too good for the Roosters. I think the Roosters will want to bounce back from their last meeting, which was round 1. And you know who's a player that's due for the Roosters who hasn't scored this year?
Teddy?
Skipper hasn't scored this year.
Yeah, all right.
I like backing fullbacks at Suncorp because I think there's more space, which allows the
How's the weather
so
been
the
up there?
defensive lines spread out a little bit further. Therefore, I think we can find maybe a little offload, maybe a little Angus Crichton offload.
He's been close, hasn't he?
Very close.
He's been clearly their best player, Teddy. Like he's been making line break assists. He's been their best player. Yeah, he just hasn't scored.
Maybe he's just lurking around a Siwa Wong or an Angus Crichton offload.
Siwa Wong is your dude.
James Tedesco for a try anytime. And on the other side, I think he's going to be, even if Adam Reynolds plays, he's going to be the dominant ball player in this game. And he's good for a little sneaky duck dive. I'm going to go Ben Hunt
that's good.
anytime,
Good shout.
try score as well. So Brisbane,
He's due.
head-to-head, Ben Hunt to score for the Broncos when they get the win. And Teddy, he is way overdue for a piece of meat.
6
you can get
games.
the price. Right now, currently, $15 for that 3-leg multi.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, nice.
Nice.
All right,
Cronulla
this
versus
is a big
Manly.
cracker.
Yep. 1 second. I'm just going over to it now. All right, let's get to the Sharks versus Eagles. Saturday, 3 o'clock our time. Local time, 1 p.m. for those who are watching the game over at Perth.
Oh, so
at
I was wondering
Optus
what you're
Stadium.
talking about. Fucking our time.
And that is Australian Eastern Standard Time, by the way. For the Sharks, Teague Wilton returns, or otherwise known as Teague Hilton sometimes, looks to have who has looked to overcome the illness that forced him to miss last week's loss to the Raiders. Sifa Talakai is also back, so a couple of huge ins for the Sharks.
Yep.
As for the Seagulls, 2 names to monitor. Lachlan Croker and both Tommy Talau are amongst the extended squad. So I think if those 2 guys are fit, they play in this game. Will be huge ins. Jason Saab also looked set to line up. He was hobbling with an ankle injury at the back end of the game. Josh Alloway makes his return.
Yep.
So Toff Sipley shifts to the bench, and Corey Waddell is suspended. He got 2 or 3 weeks for that hit in that
Did
game.
he? Was he? Wow,
Yeah.
this will be hard. I wonder when they travelled over to Perth. I wonder when these teams,
It's both Manly went Monday.
because it's
6
a
o'clock in the
fucking big
morning.
deal.
Yeah.
I remember going to Perth for Origin a couple of years ago. It took like
And Queensland didn't do it, remember?
and then they
blown
got
out.
pumped. But I was just like, fuck it. We weren't even playing. I went over with Braith and I was like, holy shit! You lose, like you can't get your sleep back. You can't. It's hard to get back into rhythm. So I think you need about 5 days over there.
Poor Cronulla. They've been like Vegas. They've been shafted around with the schedule.
It's fucking heavy, isn't it?
You're a Shark sympathiser, are you, Lukey?
Are you
am.
sympathising?
Right now I am, yeah.
Yeah, so if they get
I am at
pumped-
their stadium, so
Remember at the start of the year that we had someone text in, was messaging us about. So historically, the last 2 or 3 years, they've got a really good run of teams. They played a number of teams outside the top 8, but this year they've been hammered.
Yeah.
What
With trouble.
Scheduling.
if the
Gets you,
Sharks
mate.
fans were as vocal as the Wars fans?
Oh, mate. We'd
wouldn't
be
know.
fucking.
Don't worry, there are a few Sharks fans that got him to me because I didn't have him in the top 8 last year.
It is pretty
Have
bad.
you played over in Perth?
Yes,
In
for
a round
trial.
game? Yeah, a trial
No,
game.
not
yeah.
in a round
I
game,
went
no.
over there. I didn't trial. It was fucking awesome.
You don't have to try.
I didn't trial. No, I was with the Roosters, and there was about like probably 8 of us went over there.
Oh, we played you guys. No, did we play
No,
Dragons?
we played St George.
Yeah, we played
Yeah.
St George as well. Maybe they were having games back
And
to back.
if there's a fucking joint over there, I forget what it's called, on a Wednesday night.
Yeah, we went out Wednesday night too.
Mental.
Yeah.
It's a mental
not
joint.
the Cats?
It was
Wasn't
like
the
a
Cats?
Yeah,
It was
I
like
don't-
the
it
joint.
was like a uni pub.
Yes,
eh? Yeah.
you know exactly what I'm talking about. Get in the comments. I forget what it's called. So the whole team's out 4 days before the game.
Yeah.
3 days. I think we play on Saturday.
Yeah, same.
Is that Universal Bar?
No, it starts. I think it starts with N.
Can't remember the name of it.
Great joint anyway.
By
Perth's-
the way, too,
Perth's
I
always
got
beautiful.
The fucking spray of doom. So I hadn't played first grade yet.
Yeah.
We went over there. We played a trial against the Dragons. I was starting back row, and I was fucking gassed. It was about it's a trial, right? So it's Western Australia
Yeah.
trial, February. Fuck, it was minimum 35 degrees. And I'm pretty sure Ando knew we went out. He was our coach, and gave me the sprays of all time, and he's just like, "You're fucking awful. You're not up to standard." All this sort of shit. But he left me out there for 80 minutes. That was my punishment. That was my punishment. I had to play the whole game.
Oh God! In a
so
trial too.
Yeah, so all the starters, they were just
Yeah.
like, nah. The starters got off early, and then I was like, fuck, 80
Oh, it
minutes.
was
I'll
fun,
throw
man.
one more venue at you. I'm just having a look and see which one's got like the stickiest floor from
Yeah,
the
it's a
images.
fucking great
Mustang Bar.
No, it's not even.
Mustang.
It starts with
Jack
N.
Rabbits?
This is
Nah.
20 years ago, Luke. You said.
Nah, I
Yeah,
think
good
it still
change
goes.
the
I think it
name.
still
I know.
goes
Yeah.
on, man. It's in a big fucking warehouse, isn't it? It's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's the
that's
same
it.
joint,
It's got
mate.
like 3 different.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
mad. There was blokes in fucking cages dancing and
Yep.
shit. It was fucking awesome.
If you're from WA, let us know.
I think
Anyway.
it looks like Universal from the images. It might have had a name change.
Nah, it's one of the greatest
I
joints.
was texting Ches on Monday morning. They were already arrived. So they left at like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Because he
Oh,
messaged
right.
me at like lunchtime and they'd already arrived
Jeez,
Monday.
man.
So
That's good.
they went straight over. I'd imagine Cronulla would have
trip
as well.
away.
A huge. I've seen Sticky talking about this. So a huge part of preparation now for teams is, you know, when we used to do recovery at like 7 o'clock in the morning, straight after games. That's all scrapped now.
You sleep.
Now it's about sleep
No, you
and
gotta sleep,
recovery,
yeah.
and then they get told to do their own
their
recovery.
lunchtime,
yeah, when they wake up, so the body clock's
Yeah,
still.
it's good. Yeah, instead of like when you just say North Queensland or something like that,
that?
go
7
out,
o'clock
you're
in the
just getting
morning.
home at like
Yeah.
5 o'clock.
Yeah.
It's 8 o'clock medical.
That'd be a big thing. Like if you were like a new dad.
Sleep deprivation, man. It's fucked.
Yeah, like you.
We're
Like
all
look
like-
at Ches. He's got 3 kids and he's
Yeah, and you do say sorry. Back to if you're in Sydney at home, you do your own recovery. It's awesome. Fucking hell, because it's not a drinking culture anymore. You know what I mean? You're getting up and you are taking care of your body. It's great.
Yeah, Ches. I remember. I
go
read
for a
parts.
swim.
I read the parts of the book of Cam Smith. Cam Smith said a huge part of it was his success was his partner allowing him to like get the right amount of sleep every. Like he reckons he had a really strict sleep routine, which for sure added to the longevity. Right? Like if there's
How
one
many
thing.
games that guy end up playing? Like
400 and
400 and something. That is disgusting. And like he retired. It's still been the best player, top 5 player in the comp.
He could play another 2
430
years.
he
man.
finished.
430.
And then
He
he's
could've-
got origins and caps and
Oh,
stuff like that.
easily 500 like altogether, but 430 club games, NRL starting 80 minutes every game. He didn't miss many games.
He'd have the most minutes of all time.
Easy.
Speaking of Super League before, did you see Ryan Hall played 500 games of
Jesus.
Super League?
Yeah. What? 500 games?
He even spent a year and a half.
He'd come over here just fucking around in Bondi. He's a good dude. He's
Is
a
he?
cracking dude, mate.
Is he? Yeah.
When he come over, I was just like, he's not here to play.
He would have been here to play.
No, but fuck, they had a
Yeah.
gun team, and
Yeah.
like because his peak was already gone. Like he was killing it. Just say I think 2010s. You know what I mean? Like coming to hit the scene like really big. Then he
Yeah.
come over here, sort of dipped a little bit. Wasn't at the peak, and he had fucking good wingers there too at the Roosters.
Yeah. But you know what? Robbo would have loved him because Robbo coached at Catalans and he was the fucking beast at Leeds.
That's what I mean. He's
Yeah.
a fucking
Went
He
out a
was a
couple of
gun,
good years at
mate.
Hull KR, and now he's back at Leeds again.
If he had to come over, he's one of them. If he had to come over in his, just say,
In his Optimus.
he would have,
Yeah.
the Optimus, he would have carved.
Yeah.
DCE, how many games he at now? 340?
340 something.
He'd be
He'd be very close to Beaver at 349.
Oh, he'll
there
beat
he goes.
Beaver.
Past the
And then it's Lockie, 350.
it sucks that he's not going to
And Beaver.
355. Sorry?
It sucks that he's not going to finish his career. at
Yeah.
Manly.
But Beaver's different too because like Beaver's Northern Eagles games.
yeah.
Right.
No, but this is games
Just
in total now.
combined, I'm talking about
He's already
NRL.
passed
Okay.
Beaver.
He's
at
already
Manly
beat. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
because
And then
of the
he's-
Northern Eagles
Yeah.
thing.
Lockie's right behind him at 355, then Cooper Cronk 372, and then Cam.
Benny Hunt's in front of Ches for games.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in front of him by about 10 games or something
Those
like
little
that.
fuckers just don't miss, do they?
Yeah. Foz played 300 games. Considering all the shit that he's done.
Oh.
All right, let's get to it. Come on, this game.
Yeah.
Cronulla versus Manly.
Oh yeah, fuck Cronulla.
Yeah, I think so. I think this is a get
This
right
is the
game.
game. This is the game where they execute everything.
I can't see. Big schmoles too. Homole Olakuatu plays his 100th
100th.
game.
He's 27, eh?
Yeah. How many? I listened to this. I heard this on the radio. How many tries do you reckon Homole scored in his career?
I reckon he scored 35.
37. Fuck,
Yeah.
you're on fire, mate.
He's just
You are on fire this morning.
That Red Bull's gone straight to the
Holy
brain,
brain.
activated that ball.
Red Bull gives you brains, not
massive
wings.
brains.
Footy brains.
Yeah,
Footy IQ.
fucking massive IQ.
Mate, yeah, I would love Manly to win, but I think the Sharks, especially with Sifa Talakai and Teague Wilton back,
I'd like to see Olakau'atu, right? Just because of his origins coming up. Just to fucking if it doesn't get on his edge, I want him to go searching for the ball, right? I know they get told to hold their edge and all that in good ball, but in the middle of the field, I wouldn't mind him skipping over on the left side of the ruck and just fucking dominating, right?
do you think because that would be his role in Origin?
Yes.
Like he's got to be able
Yes.
to play multiple positions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
All right, I
if
like
he
that.
gets picked on there, because you're going to go against Terrell, mate. You're going to be going against some other players, right?
He's not going to get Liam Martin's spot on the right, is he?
No. And if he comes on an edge, just say if you move Liam Martin in the middle and then he can play right edge or
Okay.
something like that,
Yep.
you got to be able to do that. So if he can just come off the bench and they go, all right, just go in the middle for a bit or let Liam Martin defend in the middle, and he just needs to be able to attack both sides of the right and just take the game.
Okay.
Like take the game, because in Origin, the game will just go bang and you get on 10 minutes and you've touched the ball once.
That's what happened to him.
That's what happened, right?
Yeah.
And then he got he
hooked.
made the last game because he misses a few assignments. So he needs to really know. He'll learn a lot from last year's series. Just fucking get the ball. Because there's no structure in Origin hardly. You just fucking on ball. That's why guys like Gallen and forwards who just are on the ball all the time.
They thrive in
They
it.
thrive in Origin.
Yeah.
You can't sit there on your edge and wait for the beautiful block for block and get that ball. Get the ball like you do, big boy, and just fucking throw people around.
Tab have Cronulla favourite at $1.52. Manly are priced at $2.55. The line is minus 6.5.
6.5, yeah. I think that's a good bet, the head-to-head. I think Cronulla win this game.
Yep.
All right, let's get to the next game, and that's at Optus Stadium as well. That's a double header in Perth. So this game will be at 5:30 our time, 3:30 local time, and like I said, it's at Optus Stadium as well. So the Rabbitohs will have Latrell. He will captain the side, and he will line up at 5'8" in place of Cody Walker. Jaden Sullivan joins Latrell in the halves for Humphreys, and AJ returns on the wing for Michaeli Ravalawa. Ewan Aiken is also set to play his first game of the season. He's lining up in the centres. This is his first game. He's returning from a pec injury. As for the Cowboys, Ruben Cotter was late scratching last week with illness. He is back and ready to go on this. So the system, he goes back to the bench, and Harrison Edwards, who was really good too, by the way, he shifts back to 18th man. Lukey, what are the odds for this game?
South with Tab are 2.10. North Queensland $1.74. The line is minus 1.5.
Oh man, this is hard. This one.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know how Latrell plays at 5'8". Like
The Perth factor.
Perth.
Here's how they're going to line up.
Shack.
Here's how they're going to line up. So Ewan Aiken is playing centres. Latrell's going to. So I think a lot of people anticipate Jack Whiten going back to left centre, but I think the long-term plan, especially why
Jack could play 6, can't he? He's played 6 before.
No, so here's what I think they're going to do. Just because I think if it's only a short-term injury for Cody, so this is what I'm anticipating. A lot of people are anticipating Jack Whiten moving back from the right to the left. I think Jack stays on the right because that's where he's going to be spending more time. I think Latrell plays 6 in attack and defends at 2 in. and they move Ewan Aiken to 3-man on the left-hand side. Because Ewan Aiken's an out-and-out left centre as well too.
Gun defender too.
Do you think that's how it makes up? Or
makes sense.
Yeah, Alex Johnson back on the left side as well.
Because Joey and Jack White were joking around about where we'll play in that,
were they?
in that clip after the game last week.
Right. Oh, gotcha.
I'm going Cowboys. I don't know why. I just think this is just a little bit disjointed, that back line.
It is. There's a lot of changes.
The forwards are okay. I think I like the Cowboys. They're on a bit of a roll. I know Souths are on a roll as well, but I think I like what the Cowboys are doing. They're attacking really good. They're looking all right. Ruben Cotter gets back in there. They're more balanced, I think. Jeremiah Nanai, I love him off the bench. Cohen Hess and Neem. That's a bench. That's a bench.
Don't forget the system.
Yeah, the system goes good too. So, and Liam LeBlanc, Havili, Talis Duncan, and Moale.
Big tick.
Good players, but I just think that bench.
Big tick, the Cowboys bench. Big tick,
Big tick, mate.
I'm going Latrell.
Yeah.
It's, when I look at these two teams, I can't split them. And I just think Latrell could have a moment.
And I think Latrell gets so much attention from the inside because he's not wider. So he's going to get a lot of so just say fucking John Bateman or Kai O'Donnell or Ruben Cotter will be just pressing him so far so he doesn't get into the line, trying to make him play early so he's not a danger. If he's playing 5'8", is he going to be running? Is he going to be, you know what I mean? Like you can really you can take him out of the game a lot with your defence, especially if he's on the left side of the field. It's little block, and then out the back, Latrell gets it. He's not out the back, like fullback, and he's not wide enough to play centre to get one-on-ones. He's going to be getting a lot of attention from the 4-man. Even the 5-man will be sprinting up, releasing the 4-man, and it's just going to be a lot of pressure. So I just don't think it's going to be as smooth as everybody thinks it's going to be because Latrell is used to either playing fullback or he's centre. That's it. He's never played 5'8" in an NRL game. So it's a different. You're dealing with different defensive systems, and my whole game plan is stop Latrell.
Fuck, you're talking me out of South. I'll stick with it. Just in case.
I could be fucking totally wrong because Latrell on the opposite side can fucking carve the shit out of you. So all right, whatever.
No, but
I'm just giving you what happens.
No,
in
you
defense.
put together a good case.
Yeah, but I'm like,
if I'm the jury, I was swaying and going the other way. I'm looking at Drinkwater and Latrell, who can come up with more players. I'll hold my ground with Latrell despite that really good chat.
Yeah.
All right, I'll stay with South. Eels versus Raiders, Saturday, 7:35 p.m. By the way, too, just off the back of this as well, this game being in Darwin, the last game that, thankfully for Eels fans, it's the last game that they'll be playing in Darwin at TIO Stadium. So this is the first time in a long time that there hasn't been a game in Sydney for AFL or NRL.
A whole weekend? Was there an A-League slot or what's going on?
What's happening?
Maybe?
Do you are you asking a question like you don't know? Or
I don't know.
It's a rhetorical question?
I'm asking the question.
Oh, okay. I thought you were just trying to tee me up to look smart.
So there's no games at all?
Nothing. Games in Sydney over the weekend.
Man, that's stupid.
But there'd have to be a scheduling reason why. There'd have to be an event on somewhere.
No, I think it's just the way that the Dolphins in Canada have come up with the schedule.
Is cricket playing?
What are the big stadiums?
Sorry, I said AFL and NRL. I'm not talking about any...
was there any other sports going on?
Maybe Union? Are the Waratahs playing at home?
No one's going to that.
Saturday, April 12th, we've got the A-League on.
Yeah.
Sydney FC
no one's going to that. There's 5,000 people gone.
Shout out Sydney FC.
It's a double header. They have a double header at
10,000.
Saturday, April 12th.
Anyway, fuck the other sports. Anyway, that's an interesting stat, right? In Sydney, there's no footy.
Yeah.
So, even when you look at the Dragons game, that's in Illawarra. Who's the other one we talked about? Yeah, Dolphins, they're up at Suncorp. What about the Sunday games? Yeah, Knights and Newcastle. So that's in the Hunter region. There's no games in Sydney. It's crazy, Awesome. All right, this game's at TIO Stadium in Darwin. So Bailey Simonson is in line to play after Zach Lomax was ruled out with a fractured foot. Josh Papali'i is also he likes to be referred to as Papali.
Is he back to Papali? Yeah.
No, so that's Joe Ash.
Joe Ash.
So you know how Josh is Papali'i in
and Joe Ash is
Joe Ash prefers Papali. He's the 18th man and another option to replace Lomax. And then as for the Raiders, they look to field the same side unchanged. Oh, by the way, we haven't talked about it too. Apparently
2 years, 1.2. Is that what
that's been offered? Yeah, to Fogarty. So apparently Fogarty to Manly has been offered, and the Raiders are not willing to match it. So it looks like Fogarty will be the replacement for Ches at Manly.
in the current market? Is that unders?
That's unders.
That's unders for Fogarty.
600.
That's a good deal for Manly. Like, I don't want.
I mean,
I'd hate to see.
has he signed?
No, it's been
Well,
official
he'll
offer.
probably get more. They'll come to the party late, I think, Canberra.
No, Ricky shot it down.
No? Straight away?
They've got a 1-year option in their favour.
They're ruthless.
That has to be activated by this round, and they've declined it.
Yeah, the 6th
I think
round.
Ricky come out a couple of weeks ago and said he was going to negotiate.
Yeah, one-on-one.
be
Yeah,
with him or
yeah.
something.
I don't think the one-on-one went all right.
Well, obviously it didn't go well because now it's got to the point where Ricky has said in another presser after that, they're not going to stand in his way of earning good money for his family. They're still a great relationship.
Yeah, okay.
By
At
no
least it
means
leaves
has
him-
anything been tarnished.
Okay.
But they're going to go earn your money, all the best, because they've got that young Sanders kid that they just signed as well from
Okay. So they've
Parramatta.
got, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That
That's
makes
the one
sense.
that left
So-
Para, isn't it?
So
So
they've
I
got
think-
They've got two options. They have obviously Fogarty's been. It could be one of those ones where you look back and go,
Yeah.
you let a 31, 32
He's
year old
underrated,
half,
mate.
underrated half. Let's talk about Fogarty. So we'll go number 1 Nathan Cleary, number 2 Jerome Hughes, number 3 Mitch Moses, number 4 Daly Cherry Evans.
Yeah. Then
Jerome,
Adam Reynolds, 5.
Reynolds.
Luai, has he?
Oh,
Luai,
no, sorry,
yeah,
Luai
Luai's up
5.
there,
Maybe
yeah.
Luai 4.
Yeah. Yeah.
As in age and all that sort of shit. He'll
Then
surpass
then-
Ches at some point.
then
right,
it's
in the
just
next 12
like-
months. Yeah, there's like
Dearden?
top 8. Is it fair to say he's Dearden?
Dearden's
Good
a
shout.
6. He's
But-
a 6.
Yeah, but chief playmaker.
Yeah, okay.
Sam Walker when he's good.
Sam Walker.
but he's not there.
Shit, he's fringe top 10.
He's a top 10 half. He is.
It's a good.
So it's a good pickup for Manly.
It's great value. I just think it's.
Here's
value.
my thing.
Good kicker, good defender.
Everyone's talking about Ches being a done deal somewhere else, and he's got it all.
He's going to Canberra. That's it.
No, listen to this, mate. So everyone's assuming Ches is a done deal, and that's why he was the villain, because he's money hungry and he's got something sorted. How quickly have Manly got a deal done?
Shamus did mention that this was in the rumblings, and Shamus is Team Ches
you
since
go.
back end of last year.
But this is not even Team Ches versus Team Manly. This is just connecting the dots.
Correct.
Shams.
Everyone's saying Ches has got a done deal. He's going to get it done. Yeah, whatever. He's money hungry. That was the narrative against him. Manly, they were surprised. They didn't see this coming. Within 2 weeks,
Straight
they've got
away.
a Fogarty deal done.
Yep.
Connect the dots, baby.
That's been on the cards the whole year.
There's been something happening behind the scenes with this deal. That doesn't get done in fucking 10 days. Everyone was saying he's going to re-sign
Or
in
an
Canberra in
offer.
round
Yeah,
1.
and he's not going to risk his contract with that clause
Yep.
this soon as well.
Not with the Santa. Anyway, Raiders should smoke Parra in this game.
Yeah.
Respectfully, Luke.
Yeah.
Because the Zach Lomax is a huge out.
Yeah. He does
Goal
a lot.
kicking?
Yep.
With no Mitch Moses as well.
Defensive
Effort. I hope Bailey Simonson plays his first game too, because I ran into him a couple. I ran into Zachy the other.
He's Canberra boy too.
I'll give you a little bit of insight into Zachy Lomax. So I was calling this game for SEN, and just on the last kick that Zach Lomax missed, Jaden Stewart come to put some kick pressure on Zach, and I thought that's when he did the injury. So during the call, have you seen The Usual Suspects? With Kaisa
Best, one of the
Sese?
best
movies all
movies
the
ever,
time.
yeah.
You know how he's limping,
Then he just
and
runs,
as soon as
yeah.
he gets out of camera, he
Yeah.
starts walking probably because he's not disabled.
Was that Zach?
I was calling Zach Kaisa Sese during the call. I
Did you know what he's talking about?
Yeah, no. So I told Zach about it. He had no idea. I don't think he was across the movie. But I ran into him on Tuesday morning potentially after we trained. Yeah. And I was like, mate, I thought you were pulling the fakie.
Yeah.
I thought you were pulling the Kaiser Sose like you had a bad ankle to throw off and then kick the field goal winner. He goes, no, I did it with about 10 minutes to go. But he goes, I wasn't fucking losing that game.
Yeah, wow. That's great. And then you can have a
Fractured foot, mate.
He's got a broken foot, yeah.
He's got a fractured foot, and not only did he finish off the game, he kicked the winning field goal
With it.
because he
With
goes,
it?
I was going to beat the fucking
Oh,
Dragons.
that's great.
I love
He's
that.
an animal.
Love
Sucks that he's going to come back. It's just right just before Origin, and
Yeah.
he needs a couple of games before Origin, so he could
you think?
potentially.
I think he runs
fucking-
straight back in if he's fit.
Yeah, I mean, if he's fit,
Yep.
hopefully it's not as bad as we as they say.
I think they said 4 to 6 weeks.
Four's all right. You can do 4.
Okay. Getting back just after the
Yeah,
magic
and then,
round potentially.
yeah.
I don't reckon. I don't think even.
want him to get back. Just
As long
at
as he's
least
healthy.
have one game.
Okay.
One game before Origin.
Yeah, this is a tough go for the Eels. It's been tough going up there. Conditions probably don't suit the Raiders as well.
It's probably the worst deal they've ever signed as a club. to play up there.
No.
They never fucking win.
Justin Horo in 2010 was the worst deal they've ever signed.
Well, Parramatta, we haven't done the odds. $2.90.
Okay, yep.
Canberra $1.42 with tab. The line is plus 7.5 to the Eels.
Yep,
So
okay.
Raiders all day. Raiders in 5.
The Raiders struggled in tough conditions against the Cowboys. Oh, not really. They were
Finally, we're taking a team up there that's not used to it. We take North Queensland. We take
Canberra
the
gets
Broncos.
Yeah,
disgusting
that's a good
game.
shout.
Yeah.
That's a good shout.
But yeah, I think the club's just
Nobody is used to that heat. No one can fucking not in North Queensland's a little bit different. It's terrible up there.
So it's good to be. Shout out to Darwin, but it's good to be back home.
It is good to be back, but unfortunately, I'm going to be going against my own team here for my same game multi. Parramatta, despite a really brave performance and getting the win against the Dragons, I think the Canberra Raiders are a level above, and I know the conditions are going to be tough, but I like them in this game, so I'm going to take Canberra head to head. And I'm going to go the two centres for the Canberra Raiders. I think Sebastian Kris on the left-hand side and Matty Timmercourt on the right-hand side, the two centres. Getting a pretty good price for this as well. And I can see it being the sort of game that really opens up with the conditions, makes a lot of fatigue in this game. And therefore, I don't think it even gets to the wingers because there's just so many gaps in and around the edges. So give me the two centres. You can get that for $9.50.
Good shout.
Kick off the round.
Yeah.
I'll get the odds while you're launching.
Where's
your
this
screen.
one in Melbourne? Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, mate.
Yeah, we've got the Storm playing the
Amy
Warriors. $1.17 favourites. The Storm $5. The Warriors with tab. The line is minus 16.5.
16.5 is a bit disrespectful to the Warriors this year. They're a better team than that.
They're better.
It's going to be good conditions down there in Melbourne, around 30 degrees. So that favours the Storm. If it's a slick, fast pace, I can see why you'd be high on the Storm because they were good against Manly, and Bellamy looks to be sticking with the same 1-17. As for the Warriors, they've got Rocco Berry. He's set to return from a hamstring injury. Adam Pompey will then shift to the wing. Ed Cossey drops out. And shout out to Aaron Clark, who plays his 100th NRL match. Warriors have been brave, coming off a bye. And we are Warriors haters. So where are we going on this?
If Melbourne can play, like just say what they did in round 1, that was at Amy Park, beautiful day, dry track. They look sharp. Their ball skill, ball handling and passing is the best in the comp.
Silky.
Everything's out in front, on the fly. Even though when I said it on Monday when that ball to Pappy was running, it was like a 20-metre ball, hit him right on the chest, right out in front. So I think they execute like that again, and they put one on the Warriors. I think the Warriors are going to be brave, but I just don't think they just haven't got enough strike power to score tries against that defense, and their defenses, they can open up some gaps as well. I think the Melbourne just fucking really touch them up. They're fucking there.
Warriors are better than the Eels, though. And that's who they dusted up in the first.
I think it's going to be tight, but just by the end of it, they'll just be relentless. Yeah, they'll just kick away and it'll be like 13 plus.
What about the Storm have absolutely dominated the Warriors in the last fucking.
They've got a good record,
years. Remember when the Warriors game used to be a really good. Go back to when Melbourne were at their best, Warriors were their Achilles heel.
Yeah.
Now the Storm, this new look Storm, absolutely dominate them. So I can see why you're going that way. I'm with you. I think they'll be brave to start off with the Warriors, but I think the Storm will blow them out in the end by maybe like the 10 to 20 margin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anywhere in between 10 to 20.
I mean, if Pappy's playing like he's playing and Money and Jerome Hughes and Harry Grant, like that is the best spine in the game. No one comes near it. Like they've got so much strike. And just that try that I said on Monday, perfect example. You think they're going to go left because you've got Jerome Hughes and Money there, and bang, straight to Pappy, skips out there. They've got that little beautiful block shape try. It's pretty hard. And their edges aren't good defenders. They've got young centres. They make bad decisions sometimes. And when they're coming up against these class players, I think there'll be a lot of tries scored around there.
That's a good shout. So Leotower and Tuapiki have been really good offensively. The Warriors have done a really good job scrambling, but at times they've been stripped on the edge.
Yeah.
Melbourne
They
not miss.
They don't miss.
They will not miss.
Then
They'll have the Coates, Howarth, Munster edge, Sean Bloor. Watch out for some.
And then if you want to
edge.
come up and rush out towards Pappy, a little kick over to Coates. Like it's just nearly unstoppable the way that they execute. And if they execute at a high level, which they do, you can't stop it.
This is a really good game for my winger special too. I've told the boys about this. The Hello Sports boys know about this bet. Melbourne on a fast pitch down against a team that I think can be competitive and score some tries. Look out for all 4 wingers to score in this game. It's like a play I like to have in this game as well. But let's move on to the Knights versus West Tigers. Sunday, 4 p.m. at McDonald's Jones Stadium. This is the last game of the round. Phoenix Crossland will line up at halfback in place of... Shout out to Jack Cogger. He dislocated his finger in that game with about 20... Couldn't get it back in.
Oh, he didn't get it back in?
It still wasn't back in while Adam O'Brien and Kalen Ponga were doing the presser. How tough is that?
Yeah.
Some of these players, what they're able to play with these days. So he just played the game with the dislocated finger for the last half an hour.
Tough, mate.
Jaden Brayley will shift to hooker, starting spot for Phoenix Crossland. Kyle McCarthy, he's the new man for James Schiller, who misses the game with concussion. Kai Pearce-Paul returns. Brady Jones will make a return to the forward pack. And... there've been a couple of front row twins for the Knights in years past. They're going to have another one. Tyrone Thompson, the brother of Leo, will debut, NRL debut, and Matt Arthur will make his club debut.
What a proud moment for the Thompson family, eh?
How good.
With your twin brother. That's awesome. Should be very proud.
Very proud. West Tigers, imagine if the Saifidi twins and the Thompson twins were playing together. That would be fucking unreal.
Unbelievable.
West Tigers, Jerome Law has overcome a shoulder injury and is set to make his return from suspension. With Latu Fainu, he's going to miss the match with a thumb injury. Jarrell Skelton is also on track to return from a hamstring injury. And another big in, Samuela Fainu is slated to line up at second row after recovering from a leg injury. This is a tough one, mate.
I like the Tigers.
Yep.
Well, the Tigers are 225 with Tab Mace.
Yeah.
Newcastle $1.65, and the line is -2.5.
Yeah, I like the Tigers. I think I mean, Knights have got a lot of attacking prowess with KP and Sharp and Bradman Best, and they haven't put it together yet. So I think the Tigers are really defending well at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
They've really, and if you take a leaf
They've
out of
heaps,
the Bulldogs book last week, how much pressure they put on Cogger, how much pressure they put on Sharp, they pretty much took Sharp out of the game, which
They did a great job.
Which takes Ponga out of the game. So you just got to look at the blueprint right there and fucking copy it. Right? You just got to work this, or you got to have really mobile middles, which you do. You got Terrell May, you got Bolle, you got Appy. They can really put some inside pressure on, and they can take care of their forwards, right? Thompson and Saifidi. Is Saifidi out? No, the other.
Saifidi's out.
Yeah, so like I don't think they're worried about Newcastle's pack. You're worried about Ponga, you're worried about Sharp, Bradman Best, but you can starve them with the ball. Bradman Best didn't get fuck all ball, needed gags last week because of the inside pressure from the Bulldogs' relentless defence. So I think everybody who plays against these teams, you just go, what did they do? And you sort of copy and paste and you sort of just do the same.
Do Tigers have the forward pack to be able to
Yeah,
pull
I
that
think
off,
so.
though?
That's what I said. I said Bolle moves good.
Yep.
So does Terrell May. So does Appy. You know, like, and who's the lock there? 12. He moves. He's just a worker. You know what I mean? So you can put a lot of pressure on these young on the halves, on the coggers and stuff like that. And Sharp, they sort of haven't figured it out where Sharp is. You know what I mean? Like he hasn't.
What do you got? You got something for the game?
Thompson coming over from the Hurricanes.
Yeah.
Is he one of
Chiefs.
the first Chiefs? Sorry,
I think he's Chiefs.
Chiefs. Yeah, but one of
I'm
the first
second
middles.
guessing it. It's going to be fucking rugby union fans. Either Highlanders or Chiefs potentially. I think it's Chiefs. Yeah.
Right.
Go ahead.
Either
sorry.
way, first middles sort of come across from Union.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, a lot of them have been sevens players.
Yeah, we always talked about Artie'd be great. Like, is
Artie'd
he sort
be
of
free.
similar player to Artie?
No. Nowhere near.
I know that, but like in terms of
Not in level as he's talking about position.
okay.
No, but it's a different position
was
as well.
was he an 8 for Union?
No. I'll have a look.
I think
Tyrone
he was
Thompson.
an 8 or 6, wouldn't he?
I would say because he's a fucking
Pretty
nugget
nugget.
here.
He wouldn't be front row.
He's too small,
Yeah,
eh?
he's not thick enough. I think he'd be an 8 or 6. But he got a lot of work to do with his game. I've seen him play. He's not as mobile as Leo, so he's got a couple. It'll be interesting to see how he goes in the middle because his movements aren't as sharp as Leo's.
I have a huge multi for this Sunday game as well, Mace. You've talked me into the Tigers too, by the way. So I'm going to go the Tigers head-to-head. I like all the things that you just said about them. And I am going to go a couple of the big boys. I think the players through the middle, you mentioned Fanor Bolle before. I think the big fella gets up. A bit of craftiness from Uppy Carousel through the middle. Fanor Bolle goes through the middle and scores a try. And Thomas will score us a try on the left edge. I think he goes to the left edge where Dylan Lucas has had some joy at the start of the year.
Galvin.
Pardon?
He'll be up.
Going up
Yeah.
against Galvin. Kai Pearce-Paul returns. He will go back to his position on the right side.
Yeah.
So I like
That's a good one.
West Tigers head-to-head. Thomas Will for the Newcastle Knights, and Vanua Pole for 101
That's all right.
100-1 multi.
That's insane.
Tabba going to be
That could hit. That could hit because I like the way that Kant plays. Right, he's strong. He took care of Cherry last week. He's strong. He's very strong, man. I think he's a Maitland boy. I'm not sure, but speed.
He did do a good job on Cherry last week.
Leg speed off its head. He's strong as
I believe
hell.
his name is pronounced Cant as well.
Cant,
but
yeah, old Cant.
Thomas Cant.
And Bolle is always around, and Appy's always a forward. Like he wants to get his middles over the line before he goes out the back. And Bolle is a fucking strong human. See what he did against the Warriors. He scored that try.
That'll be a
easily.
doozy if I can pull this off.
You're a genius.
That will be a.
I've got the info. Tyrone. It was a number 2, so it's a hooker in
There you
Union.
go. So he was, front row.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck, he must have had to lose some weight then.
To play
Nah,
NRL.
so
play
the
NRL.
the number 2, they're always a little
Oh,
bit
they're
more
a little
trim
bit-
because they're zipping around, they're tackling, they're the one in
Like
the scrum.
Kevin Mialamu, yeah. He
Yeah.
was a gun.
All right,
Interesting.
that's it
Hang
for
on, I
this
just want to
weekend.
say, 9th of May, WWR events. We're putting on a show at Wyong, 12 o'clock. Tickets will be in the bio. Joey Johns, he'll
Yeah.
be the guest. Me and Joey will be up there talking about, obviously, a bit of Origin, bit of the whole year, what's been going on there. So we'll put something up and it'll be on. We're
Sorry,
on.
did you say where?
It's at Wyong League
One
Club.
Leagues Cup. All right.
12 o'clock. It's a luncheon, sports luncheon, and we'll be there talking a bit of talking footy, talking a bit of everything.
What day is that? A Friday?
It's a Friday, yeah.
Yeah, nice. Sweet. Sounds
right.
good. Chuck the link in the bio for him as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lukey. All right, that's it. Enjoy the footy over the weekend, and we'll see you Monday for the review.
Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website